Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Well, good afternoon, Brilla FM listeners, and a big welcome to Football Live this Sunday afternoon. Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans and Liverpool fans, get ready for some proper Premier League action. Yesterday's 5 games all produced at least 4 goals. Will that goal fest continue to flow this afternoon? We really hope so, and we'll be bringing every single goal to you as and when it hits the back of the net. 4 Premier League matches, 2 matches in Italy's Serie A. Napoli minus Victor Osimhen, Atalanta minus Ademola Lookman are both on the show today. And in Germany, Leipzig look to bounce back from their 5-goal thrashing last weekend. They take on Union Berlin. 4.5 hours of non-stop, free-flowing, action-packed drama, 7 featured matches. We'll also hear from the players, the managers and even the chief executive of Liverpool Football Club as he tells us what he will be doing as he searches for a replacement for Jurgen Klopp. Well, 4 of our featured matches are just about getting underway. Our first stop this afternoon is Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea are at home against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Richard Bond can bring us bang up to date with all the team news and any early action.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're just underway in this intriguing matchup between 10th place Chelsea and 11th place Wolves at Stamford Bridge. Both sides are looking to bounce back from midweek defeats, the result in this run to move close to European qualification places. Chelsea have made 2 changes from the side, lost 4-1 at Anfield on Wednesday night, aiming for a 5th league win at home for the first time since 2020. Malo Gusto and Chris Nkunku, who scored his debut in a reverse fixture start. Nicholas Jackson's back from African Nations League, will take his place on the replacements bench. Wolves have had a day less to recover. They lost the first time in 8 games last time out. They've freshened things up with Aït-Nouri, Gomez and Sarabia all starting. And 10 games stretching back to 1979 since Chelsea last lost at Stamford Bridge to the Midlanders. But Wolves have only lost once in the last 7 against Mauricio Pochettino's sides. Looking forward to a cracker here. At the moment, though, early stages, it's Chelsea 0, Wolves 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. The Ivorian Cheick Konda has been sent off in the game in the Swiss League for Zurich. Let's turn our attentions to Old Trafford now, shall we? Next up, Manchester United. A very good performance on Thursday away at Wolves, a thrilling 4-3 win. And watching this one, United against West Ham United for us today, it's Football Live's Molly Sumter. Good afternoon, Molly.
Good afternoon, Barry, and good afternoon to the Football Live listeners. We had a bit of a sombre start to the afternoon here as both sides commemorated the Munich air disaster, the first one since the passing of Sir Bobby Charlton. But play just got underway here at Old Trafford. We're just seconds into the first half. A couple of changes you can note here today, starting with the visitors West Ham. Aguerd returns to the starting 11 after Morocco were knocked out of the AFCON and replaces Mavropanos. And Koufal takes place of new signing Calvin Phillips, who drops down to the bench. As for Man United, Varane drops to the bench and Harry Maguire takes his place, and Sofiane Amrabat returns from AFCON and joins the Man United substitutes. As I said, about a minute into play here, it's Man United 0, West Ham 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. Let's hear from the player that scored the winner in that epic game on Thursday evening at Wolves. 3-1 up they were, weren't they? But the Wolves got back to 3-3 in stoppage time. A bit naive, really, from Manchester United defending. But then they went up the other end, and this man, Kobbie Mainoo, scored his first senior goal.
Yeah, it's a dream come true. I mean, such a tough place to come. They've had a good home run here, so we had to get the win. And, I've still not come down for it. I still feel like I'm dreaming, to be honest. So you have to give me a second to come back to it. Yeah, definitely. To start playing in the Premier League for my boyhood club, it's been amazing. And now just trying to get a good run of games in, win more games, and get real momentum going.
Now another 3 o'clock kickoff down on the south coast. Bournemouth against Nuno Espirito Santos and his Nottingham Forest team, who are right back in the relegation battle after a recent poor run. Destination Vitality Stadium. Paul James is the man bringing you bang up to date on Football Live this afternoon. Good afternoon, Paul.
Good afternoon, Barry, and good afternoon, Football Live fans. Bournemouth make 2 changes today. Justin Kluivert and Luis Sinisterra are in for Alex Scott and Marcus Cavani. 6 changes for the Tricky Trees, and that sells. The goalkeeper comes in for Matt Turner. Callum Hudson-Odoi and Nuno Tavares are in for Montiel and Toffolo. Yates and Alanga are in for Mangala and Danilo. And the Nigerian hotshot Taiwo Awoniyi is in as a starting lineup for Forest is completed there. He scored on Wednesday against Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth versus Nottingham Forest, 0-0 so far, Barry.
Thank you very much, Paul. Great to see Taiwo Awoniyi back in the action. Of course, he scored against Arsenal in midweek on his return and in from the start today. Full time in the WSL. Manchester United 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. 2 goals there for Nikita Paris. Another 2 goals for her. She's been banging in the goals in the North East Derby today in the Championships. Just finished. Middlesbrough 1, Sunderland 1. 2 late goals in that game. Middlesbrough took the lead, but Sunderland equalising late on in the game. Back in the WSL, Arsenal were ahead through Alicia Russo away at West Ham in the London Derby, but West Ham have struck back twice and now lead in that game by 2-1. Let's get off to our featured game in Italy, shall we? From the Jurassic Coast to the region of Campania. Napoli down in 9th in Serie A after just 3 wins in their last 10 matches. Their opponents this afternoon are Verona, 11 away matches without a win. Watching Napoli against Verona for Football Live this afternoon. It's a very good afternoon to Jack Hesson.
Yeah, very good afternoon to you, Barry, and it's been a dominant start for Napoli in the early opening minutes of this game. Of course, this is a 7th game now without Victor Osimhen away at AFCON, and they've struggled without him. Giovanni Simeone has been the man to replace him, leading the line. Just 1 goal this season. Last outing against Lazio, they drew 0-0, and it was the first time they've not had a single shot on target in a game 2012, so they've struggled without him so far, but they really need a win today. 4 minutes in, it's still Napoli 0, Verona 0.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And already this afternoon, the Premier League has brought us its first goal. And it's been scored down in the game on the South Coast for Bournemouth, who take the lead against Nottingham Forest. We'll be down to hear about that goal in just a couple of minutes' time with Paul James, who's watching for us. So Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0. And it's Justin Kluivert that has managed to give Bournemouth the lead after 6 minutes. Justin Kluivert with a goal. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Let's go and hear about a chance for Wolverhampton Wanderers in their away game at Chelsea. Good start for Wolves in this one, potentially. Richard Bond.
Yes, Wolves have had the chances, but Chelsea have had the possession so far. But Pedro Neto had the shot. He was played in on the right-hand side by Aït-Nouri, cut inside two players before unleashing a shot, which was saved around the post by Petrovic. Good, entertaining game here, end-to-end. Chelsea 0, Wolves 0, 7 minutes gone.
Excellent, thank you very much for that. Let's get down to the South Coast and hear all about our first goal of the afternoon. And to tell us all about Bournemouth taking the lead against Nottingham Forest, here's Paul James.
Oh, it's a stunning start by Bournemouth. A corner on the left-hand side was swung in. The header was by Luis Sinisterra, and on the goal line, poaching it, was Justin Kluivert to give Bournemouth the 1-goal lead at home. 6 minutes gone here. It's Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Let's head up to Old Trafford, shall we? Manchester United taking on West Ham United. United scoring 4 on Thursday night. Can they repeat that with some goals in front of their own fans at Old Trafford this afternoon? Watching at Old Trafford, it's Molly Sumter.
Yeah, it's been a slow start to the afternoon here. I think both teams seemingly a little bit more conservative. West Ham might have been a little bit defeated by that draw with Bournemouth in midweek, and of course Man United only subject to 3 goals to Wolves. I know they still won in that game, but that's 3 goals conceded. That is when questions will start to be asked of Man United's defence. I think West Ham have not won here at Old Trafford in the Premier League since 2007, so it would be a great feat for them to pull something out today. But we'll yet to see how those things will go. As it stands, it's 7 minutes gone. Man United 0, West Ham 0.
And so, yes, that's interesting to hear. Still 0-0 in that game at Old Trafford. Still 0-0 in the game between Chelsea and Wolves at Stamford Bridge. But Bournemouth at the Vitality are leading by a 1-0 against struggling Nottingham Forest. 0-0 as well in the game between Napoli and Verona at the Diego Armando Maradona this afternoon. We'll bring you the goals as and when they go in, and of course the action doesn't stop with this round of fixtures, because later on this afternoon we have a match that could be very significant in the title race in the Premier League. It's taking place at the Emirates. It's Arsenal against Liverpool, a third meeting in the space of 42 days between these two big guns. Liverpool 5 points clear of Arsenal at the top of the table at the moment. Both sides winning in midweek. Liverpool 4-1 against Chelsea, and a new hero is emerging at Anfield, that of Connor Bradley, the young right back who scored against Chelsea. Here he is to tell us all about his first ever senior goal.
Yeah, it's a very proud moment, obviously. It's something I've dreamed of for a long time, but yeah, as I said earlier, I just feel like I'm in a dream. It's unbelievable, so yeah, I'm very happy. I just couldn't believe it went in. I just thought I'm going to hit it here, and then went in the bottom corner, and I just didn't know what to do, so went over the corner and done a knee slide, and then it was brilliant, so it was.
A goal and 2 assists for you tonight. It's 5 assists for you now in the last 4 games. How much have you enjoyed this run?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Obviously, it's unfortunate the way Trent got injured, but that's what happens in football. I just got to try to take my chance, and over the last couple of games I feel like I've done pretty well, so I just want to keep up this form and keep working hard.
Interesting that. 5 assists in 4 matches for young Connor Bradley. I have to say, I've watched him a couple of times and he looks a very, very good prospect in the red of Liverpool. And we will have him on Football Live in action later on this afternoon. That game between Arsenal and Liverpool kicks off at 5:30 West African time. And we'll have some team news around about an hour from kickoff. So just over an hour from now, we will start building up for the team news in that game at the Emirates, Arsenal against Liverpool. We'll also have Leipzig against Union Berlin in the Bundesliga, and Atalanta against Lazio. Big game that in Italy in Serie A, which kicks off 6 o'clock this evening. We'll cover that right here on Football Live as well.
The latest in-play betting odds from NairaBet.
Well, looking at the latest odds in the 3 Premier League games that we've got taking place at the moment, and certainly there's a lot riding on the 3 games that are taking place. Let's quickly visit the game that we are covering later on. Arsenal 2.3 for the victory, 3.75 for the draw, and Liverpool currently 3.0. Now, bearing in mind they're 5 points ahead of Arsenal at the top, it might be an interesting bet, that one, to follow. In the German Bundesliga, we'll be covering Leipzig later on as well. 1.36 for Leipzig. They're the clear favourites at home to struggling Union Berlin, who you can back at 8.5. 5.25 for the draw. Might be a good punt if Union Berlin are in with a chance this afternoon. We'll bring you some odds very shortly on the games currently taking place in the Bundesliga. Our odds, of course, are subject to change with NairaBet. Okay, let's head back, shall we, to our featured games. A penalty shout in the game in Italy for Jack Hesson to tell us about. It was a shout for Napoli, but Jack, it's not been given.
Yeah, it hasn't been given. It was Kvaratskhelia on the left-hand side, cutting and weaving. Always a danger on that left-hand side, in towards the box. Jackson Chichoa, the Verona defender, brings him down, and it just looks like he gets a touch just on the ball to prevent it from being a stone wall penalty. Napoli were adamant, but clearly he got a touch on the ball and it was a decent challenge. It's all been Napoli so far. 11 minutes in, it's still Napoli 0, Verona 0.
Let's get down to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea, chance for them. Richard Bond.
Yeah, big chance for Chelsea. It was Cole Palmer who was played through by Enzo Fernandez just inside the box. His effort just curls towards the goal, but managed to take a deflection off a last-ditch tackle to go up for a corner. Very close for Chelsea, who've started to come into this match, starting to build around the midfield. At the moment, though, 13 minutes on the clock, though, Chelsea 0, Wolves 0.
Thank you very much for that, Richard. Let's head to Manchester United against West Ham United. Molly Sumter can tell us about a chance for the visitors, West Ham United.
Yeah, West Ham getting down the flanks here at Old Trafford. Managed to win a corner. James Ward-Prowse whips it into the box. It finds the head of Edson Alvarez, who gets extremely close, forces a one-hand save from Onana, and it's scrapped away by the Manchester United defence. But West Ham definitely knocking on the door here in the opening stages. It's 12 minutes gone. Man United 0, West Ham 0.
And let's head to Bournemouth. They're taking on Nottingham Forest. Paul James is watching this one. And Paul, a chance for Forest, who are already behind in this game.
Yes, Morgan Gibbs-White linking up brilliantly with Taiwo Awoniyi. He played the ball through to the Nigerian hitman, and unfortunately for Taiwo, he does slip, but he does get the shot away. But in the end, it's a comfortable save down to his right-hand side for Neto. 13 minutes gone, Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Thank you very much, guys, for all those updates around the grounds. Very quickly, there are 4 featured matches just to keep you bang up to date with what's happening so far. Remember, 5 games in the Premier League yesterday and 4 goals as a minimum scored in every single one of them. We're trying to match that again this afternoon. That would be quite something if we could. We thought we might be well on our way with an early goal for Bournemouth. Quarter of an hour gone in those 3 games in the Premier League. Bournemouth 1, Forest 0, Chelsea 0, Wolves 0. Manchester United are goalless with West Ham, and Napoli Verona is still waiting for its first goal as well. We've got Arsenal against Liverpool, Leipzig against Union Berlin, Atalanta against Lazio, all coming your way very soon. In France, Toulouse have taken the lead away at Rennes thanks to Christian Mawissa, and that's a big goal. A goal in the Eredivisie as well. Taylor Booth has scored for Utrecht, and they are now level with Volendam, 1-1 in that one. Earlier today, Middlesbrough 1, Sunderland 1 in the North East Derby. Torino and Salernitana currently 0-0 in Italy. Between those 2 sides, that game is now into the second half, and still goalless between those 2 in Serie A in Italy. That has actually finished now. Torino 0, Salernitana 0. Good point away from home for Salernitana in that one. And in Turkey, 2-1 Pendik Sport beating Demirspor at the Sultas Yapi Pendik. Thanks to 2 first half goals. They had Pendi Halil Akburna sent off Pendikspor, but held out for the 3 Turkish Super League points. Vitesse still bottom in the Eredivisie despite playing against 10 men today. Willem Willemsen sent off for Go Ahead Eagles, but it didn't stop them scoring another goal with 10 men on the pitch, and they won 2-0 in that game. At the Gelre Dome, it does look like Vitesse Arnhem are on their way to relegation in the Eredivisie, and they've been in that division for a long time. Let's head back to Old Trafford. Manchester United have created a chance. Molly Sumter. Oh, we can't seem to connect up with Molly at the moment, so let's...
Yeah, it started Rashford right to the goal. Kurt Zuma just put it behind.
No, we seem to have lost Molly again there. I tell you what, let's get down to the South Coast. We'll go to Chelsea in a second. Let's go down to Bournemouth first of all. They're leading Nottingham Forest by 1-0. Paul James, Forest have had a couple of chances to get an equaliser, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have started to come back into this, and once again it's that man Taiwo Awoniyi, and he beats Marcus Senesi and gets into the penalty area. Unfortunately, his shot is not the best, and Neto makes a comfortable save down to his left-hand side. But Forest are getting closer. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0, 16 minutes gone.
Thank you very much for that, Paul. Let's go to Stamford Bridge, shall we? Richard Brond, and no goals yet. Who's on top?
Well, it's very back and forth at the moment, Barry, and Wolves looking threatening on the right-hand side with Pedro Neto particularly having the better of Ben Chilwell so far, but whilst Wolves picking their moments, Chelsea are having the play in the centre, and when they're having efforts, they're spreading the play wide, looking to get the ball early into the box. But as we stand, though, it's kind of a game of back and forth, but it's still 0-0, Chelsea 0, Wolves 0 with 18 minutes on the clock.
Thank you very much for that, Richard. Let's head back to Old Trafford and see if we can link up with Molly. Hopefully the technical gremlins have disappeared. Molly, we was going to find out about a chance for Manchester United.
Yes, apologies to the Football Live listeners. It was Rashford racing towards goal. Kurt Zuma just putting it behind for a corner to stop him in his tracks. Corner then whipped into the box. Hip-tapped around in the defence, manages to fall out to Bruno Fernandes just outside of the 6-yard box, who unleashes a fantastic strike that forces a great save from the the West Ham keeper there. Man United definitely getting their confidence in this game. Fantastic start. 18 minutes on the clock. Man United 0, West Ham 0.
Thank you very much for that, Molly. Chelsea fans, you better fasten those seatbelts. Well, I can tell you that Chelsea have taken the lead in their game against Wolverhampton Wanderers.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Sorry about that, but I can tell you, you can fasten your seatbelts, Chelsea fans, but you can also have a big sigh of relief. We were just asking Richard just a few moments ago who was on top, and, well, we'll be able to go over to Richard in just a couple of minutes and hear about an opening goal for Chelsea. It's Chelsea 1, Wolves 0, and I can tell you, it's a familiar face on the goal-scoring chart. It's that man again, Cole Palmer, latching on to a ball from Caicedo and scoring to give Chelsea the lead. So Chelsea 1, Wolves 0. Great news there for Chelsea fans listening in, and we can hear all about that goal now by crossing to Stamford Bridge and joining up with Richard Bond.
Well, it's been completely out of nothing really, because we haven't really had loads of chances, even though it's been back and forth. But it is Cole Palmer who scored yet again. He's been the man in form for Chelsea recently, and he was played through, like you say, from Caicedo from deep, and he just took a pot shot really from about 20 yards. It bent into the bottom left-hand corner, and brilliant start for Chelsea now. They go to the good year against Wolves. Chelsea 1, Wolves 0, 20 minutes gone.
Thank you very much, Richard. Still not sure if it's Caicedo or Caicedo. There is a Caicedo playing for Real Madrid's women's team. I covered that game last night, and she did score. And I called her Caicedo and also called her Caicedo. One of them's right, one of them's wrong. Incidentally, Real Madrid beaten Valencia in the women's Liga F in Spain last night, 7-1, and not one single goal scored by a Spaniard for Real Madrid, although Valencia's goal was scored by a Spanish international. Good game that was. 4 Danish goal scorers on the score sheet. Chelsea fans, you've just heard about your goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
It wasn't a lead that lasted for very long because Wolves have equalised at Stamford Bridge. It's now Chelsea 1, Wolves 1, and Chelsea have surrendered the lead that was given to them by Cole Palmer just a couple of minutes ago. Wolves back level now in that game, thanks to a goal from Matheus Cunha. He's had a load of goal involvements, hasn't he, in recent weeks? Didn't have a goal involvement in the 4-3 defeat to Manchester United on Thursday, but he's just gone and rattled a ball into the back of the Wolverhampton Wanderers net. And it is now a 1-1 in that game. We'll be across to Richard and hear about that goal very, very soon. So Chelsea 1, Wolves 1. Forrester a goal behind at Bournemouth. Early goal down there from Kluivert. Still goalless in the game between Manchester United and West Ham United. Still goalless between Napoli and Verona as well. And of course, we've got some great games coming up later on in the show as well. Most notably, Arsenal against the Reds of Liverpool, and we will be across that game throughout the afternoon. Our reporter on that, Andrew Bonacore, will join us in just a little over an hour to give us the exclusive news of the two teams in that game. So Chelsea 1, Wolves 1. We will hear about that goal for Wolves in just a few moments' time. In the meantime, let's catch up with Ange Postecoglou. Not a particularly happy man after the Spurs lead was wiped out deep into stoppage time at Everton in the Saturday early kick-off at Goodison Park. So, well, off you go then, Ange, you know.
I wouldn't, never say, point's a good point. We're trying to win games of football, and disappointing not to do that today. Particularly conceding so late, I guess. But ultimately we just got to cop that on the chin. Look, it's it's not an easy place to come and try and play. Sort of fluently. For the most part, I thought we handled it okay. Lost a little bit of composure in the first half. Second half, I thought we played some decent stuff, created some good chances. Probably needed a third goal just to kill them off because in the last 10 minutes, everything's going to go their way, and it did. And we had to deal with it. Unfortunately, didn't deal with the last one.
Yeah, don't you, Ange? You just,
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
We'll be off to hear about the goal that Wolves got against Chelsea in just a minute, but I can tell you all of our games in the Premier League have now got a goal because Manchester United lead at home against the Hammers. It's Manchester United 1. It's West Ham United 0 in that game at Old Trafford. United ahead, and it's Rasmus Højlund scored against Wolves the other night. He had another one disallowed for offside, and he's in the goals again this afternoon. 1-0 in that game. Let's just quickly get across to Stamford Bridge and hear about that Wolverhampton Wanderers equaliser.
Yeah, Wolves back on level terms, and it was Matthias Cunha, like you said, and it was Gomez who won the ball strong in midfield. He played through Cunha with a really good ball. Cunha's taken a touch, he's shot, it's deflected off Silva, wrong foot in the Chelsea keeper, and it's gone flying into the back of the net. It is, like you say, it's his 10th involvement in 12 games, his 5th goal, and Wolves back on level terms here. It's Chelsea 1, Wolves 1 with 25 minutes gone.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Get involved in NairaBet Sunday Special and net yourself a free bet. Arsenal face Liverpool at the Emirates, and we are giving away a 100% matched free bet up to 1,000 Naira. Whether you back the Gunners or the Reds, even if your bet does not win, you will still be eligible for the free bet. All you need to do is log in to www.nairabet.com. Bet on Arsenal versus Liverpool. Receive your free bet to use on any sports or virtuals. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match markets or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18, minimum odds of 1.5. Must be a real money bet. Cashed out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brila FM with Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM.
Football Live will be paying very close attention to the Premier League title race on next Saturday's show. Every point counts as the Premier League title reaches the crucial part of the season. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City are in action. They're at home against Everton at the Etihad. Anfield is usually a fortress for Liverpool, so they will be expected to pick up 3 points. They're at home to struggling Burnley. Tottenham Hotspur have their eyes on the top 4, but will they be able to get the better of Brighton and Hove Albion when the two sides meet in North London? Wolves against Brentford, Bournemouth go to Fulham. It's going to be a busy Saturday afternoon with the AFCON final and the AFC Asian Cup final also on the agenda. It promises to be quite an afternoon of first-class football action next Saturday. And you can follow every kick, every card, every VAR controversy right here on Football Live. Oh, and we promise to throw in a few goals too.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
West Ham have taken some decent form into the game away at Manchester United today. 1 loss in 11 Premier League games. That was a 5-0 drubbing away at Fulham. But they are behind at Old Trafford and they've got the towels up at the moment, Manchester United. Let's hear all about the goal with Molly Sumter.
Yeah, it comes from Casemiro just getting the better of James Ward-Prowse with West Ham struggling to get it out of their own half. Then it lifts just through, falls very nicely to Rasmus Højlund, who creates a moment of magic to beat Areola on the right-hand side. A long-range shot for him, finding the bottom right corner. He whips out his guitar celebration, and all of his Man United players run over to join him. It's a great moment for Manchester United. It gives them the lead. 27 minutes gone here. It's Man United 1, West Ham 0.
Thanks very much, Molly. Let's go down to the south coast. We got our first goal down there earlier on, but we haven't had one since. Half an hour gone. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0. But another chance, Paul James, for Nottingham Forest.
Yes, absolutely. Free kick down the right-hand side, midway inside the Bournemouth half, launched into the penalty area and headed down by Murillo. And Forest captain Ryan Yates got the shot away, but Nato got down to his left-hand side to make a fantastic save. It's 27 minutes gone here. It's Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
In France, it's now Lille 2, Clermont 0. A goal for Benjamin Andre. West Ham United 2, Arsenal 1 in the WSL. A blow there for Arsenal women as they try to hunt down Chelsea, who are top of the table, of course. A 99th minute goal from Jacob Ondreka has given Royal Antwerp the lead against Club Brugge in Belgium. They were losing their game last time I looked, but are now winning, and there can't be a lot of time left because that goal was scored 9 minutes into injury time. Let's head to the game at Stamford Bridge and bring the Chelsea fans bang up to date with what is happening between Chelsea and Wolves. 2 quick-fire goals, and here's Richard Bond to bring us bang up to date.
Chelsea are having the play at the moment, and it's very much a game of cat and mouse, though. Chelsea go forward. Raheem Sterling particularly now has started getting quite involved on the left-hand side. He's pushed forward a couple of times, but Wolves win the ball back. They're being confident. They're pushing on the counter really quickly, and they've got the pace of Neto, Cunha and Sarabia all linking on the break, just waiting to pounce. But Chelsea have had the better of the play since the goal, and they look the more likely. But Wolves, you can't rule them out at the minute. No further major chance to note, but it's Chelsea 1, Wolves 1 with half an hour gone.
Thank you very much for that, Rich. Probably a good time to go to Napoli at the moment whilst Victor Osimhen is on AFCON duty. However, their visitors today, Verona, have not won a league away game since August. That's 11 matches without a win on the road. Can they end that today against the Napoli side, who have not had the best of times in recent weeks? It's Napoli against Verona, bringing us bang up to date. About half an hour gone in this one. It's Jack Hesson.
Yeah, and it's been all Napoli so far. Verona keeper Lorenzo Montipo has made 2 excellent saves against Kvaratskhelia to deny him on both occasions. The first one just inside the area towards the top right-hand corner. The second one a half volley outside the box. Looks destined for the bottom right-hand corner, but for a great save. All Napoli at the moment. Half an hour played. It's still Napoli 0, Verona 0.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that update there, Jack. In Italy, 0-0 in the game between Napoli and Verona. Well, it certainly wasn't 0-0 for very long yesterday at St James's Park, was it? What a game we had covered right here on Football Live. Newcastle United 4, Luton Town 4. Well, who said Luton Town are going to go flying back down to the Championship along with the other 2 newly promoted sides? They're not going to go down without a bang, are they? They are really starting to put together some great results. They've scored 8 goals in their last 2 against Brighton and against Newcastle. That's not bad going. If you'd have said that a week ago, you'd have been laughed all the way home. But no, they have got 4 without reply against Brighton in the week. And yesterday, they got another 4 away at Newcastle. Of course, they conceded 4 as well. Rob Edwards is the Luton Town manager, and here he is speaking after that draw at St James's Park.
Look, I felt every emotion. Just said to the lads, felt sick at times, felt elation at times, felt nervous, but that's what football does to you. And I think when football is like that, 2 teams absolutely going for it, giving it everything, you can get games like that, full of emotion, full of passion, but quality, entertainment. I'm really pleased that we came away with something because we deserved it. I think a point was probably a fair result on reflection. Once we went 4-2 up, there's a little tinge of disappointment because you hope then that we can see it out. But Newcastle, we've got to remember who we're going up against. So we're in their amazing stadium that can make a heck of a lot of noise. And actually we had the last big chance really late on. So very, very pleased overall.
Of course, there's 2 sides to every story. Here is the manager of Newcastle United, the slightly more disappointed Eddie Howe.
The way we started the game, I thought this could be a really memorable game for us. With credit to Luton, they responded really well and made it difficult for us. I thought it was a very open game, 2 teams going right at each other. Probably a great game for the neutral, not so much I think if you're associated to us, because I think there's a huge determination to win today and we're disappointed not to. Luton are a really, really big team. New set plays was going to be a huge threat, so we knew we had to cover that as well. So it's not just one discipline. We conceded the first goal from a set play. Yeah, they were a threat down that right-hand side. We didn't deal with it well enough. Certainly something for us to focus and reflect on. But defensively all day, really, we were never totally secure.
Excellent. So that was Eddie Howe speaking after that 4-4 draw between the 2 sides yesterday. Newcastle 4, 4 against Luton Town. Let's head back to Old Trafford and, West Ham United, last time we heard, were 1-0 down, but Molly Sumter, a chance for the Hammers.
Yeah, they've been managing to get down the right-hand side here at Man United quite well. A cross comes in from Tomasz Souček and finds Mohamed Kudus, who's just come back from his AFCON duty. He's in miles of space. You could fit 2 double-decker buses either side of him with the space Man United's defence have given him. It's an awfully taken chance. Very, very weak header that doesn't really trouble Onana too much. West Ham must use this as a warning, though, to Man United, definitely knocking on the door. 33 minutes gone here at Old Trafford. Man United 1, West Ham 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. Let's go to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea were ahead, but Wolves wasted no time in pegging them back to 1-1. And they've had another chance, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Richard Bond.
Yeah, and it was a free kick on the right-hand side, and Paulo Sarabia, he's whipped in a really curling delivery right onto the head of Cunha, who's just beaten Thiago Silva in the air, but his head has just gone over the top of the crossbar, narrowly wide there, but just seconds later, we also had a chance at the other end, with Chelsea appealing for a penalty, but it's not given after the referee has raved off calls to go to VAR. So, it's still 1-1 here, Chelsea 1, Wolves 1, 35 minutes gone.
Excellent, thank you very much for that, Richard. Let's head to the South Coast. Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest. They scored after just a few minutes, Bournemouth. Let's see if Nottingham Forest have come any closer to finding an equaliser. They've been banging on the door, haven't they, Paul James?
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. They've really been knocking on the door. They've created chances, 2 from Taiwo Awoniyi, 1 from Ryan Yates. NATO responding in all 3 of those occasions. Bournemouth had a shot just outside the penalty area from Lewis Cook, which took a deflection away for a corner, but it's still Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Thank you very much for that. Let's head back into Italy again. Napoli against Verona, 0-0 last time we checked in. That's still the case, I think, isn't it, Jack Hesson?
It is indeed, Jay. 35 minutes played, still 0-0. Verona getting into the game a bit more now. They're getting further up the park, but can't really do anything with it. Still mostly Napoli, but they're struggling now for chances from that early flurry in the opening stages. As we get closer to half-time, they really will want a goal to try and settle nerves here. 35 minutes on the clock, it's still Napoli now. Verona now.
Thank you very much, Jack. Let's head back to the game that we were covering yesterday, 4-4 between Newcastle United and Luton Town. Here is a man that scored 2 goals in that game, Sean Longstaff.
When you score 4 goals at home, you should probably win the game, but I think when you go 4-2 down, it's if someone offers you a point at that point, I think you're going to take it. So yeah, it's probably positives and negatives, I would say. Some good things to take and some other things where we've got to be much better, but it's probably been the story of our season. A little bit up and down, a little bit inconsistent, but another point on the board and we'll move on. Yeah, we know we've got a really good group in there, good spirit, good character. People will always want the ball and people will never hide, and 4-2 it's easy to go under. I think when we played Forest at home, something similar happened and we didn't respond like that, but you see what can happen when the fans are with you and supporting you.
And for Luton Town, Elijah Adebayo, a hat-trick in midweek against Brighton. Got another one yesterday. Here he is speaking about that hat-trick at Kenilworth Road in midweek against Brighton.
It's just a surreal feeling, but again, I can't take all the credit. I think the boys were fantastic today. Everyone, even the subs, were phenomenal, and we were told to start sharp, and boy did we. It's a great feeling for myself personally, but I wouldn't have been able to do it without those boys behind me today.
So that was Elijah Adebayo. He's really banging in the goals, isn't he, at the moment for Luton Town? And, fair play to him. He's doing really well. Let's head back to Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest. The referees reached for the top pocket, Paul James, and you can tell us about a yellow card.
Yes, a yellow card for the goal scorer, Justin Kluivert, for a foul on Anthony Elanga, and he has to be very careful because he's just gone in hard on Nico Williams. Justin Kluivert walking a very tight rope right now. 37 minutes gone. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Thanks very much for that, Paul. We're Looking at games in the Premier League at the moment, 3 of them, and they've produced 4 goals. It's currently Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 1, Wolves 1, and Manchester United leading thanks to that Rasmus Højlund goal against West Ham United. Still 0-0 in Italy between Napoli and Verona. In Germany, Maxi Bayer has scored an early goal for Hoffenheim, who lead at Wolfsburg by 1-0. Jonathan David has just got a 3rd goal before half-time. Lille are hammering struggling Clermont 3-0 this afternoon. Told you about a goal in the game that we were mentioning earlier. Royal Antwerp were 1-0 down against Club Brugge. They scored in the 99th minute, 9th minute of stoppage time to go 2-1 up. Club Brugge had been reduced to 10 men in the 13th minute of stoppage time, and that is still 2-1 with Hans Vanaken being sent off in that game. Let's head off around the grounds again. Let's start with Manchester United against West Ham United. United, that's West Ham United, are trailing. The other United, Manchester. Here's Molly Sumter.
Yes, pace has slowed down again here. Nothing really clear cut coming for either side at the moment. I think both teams, as I said at the beginning, playing slightly conservative, but very, very patient play from Manchester United. Kobbie Mainoo definitely getting forward for them plenty. That superstar youngster that has been all over the headlines at the moment. A very promising young player here. As it stands, though, 38 minutes on the clock. Manchester United 1, West Ham 0.
Thanks very much, Molly. Let's head back to Stamford Bridge, shall we? Chelsea 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers run. Richard Bond, Chelsea on top, or is it Wolves at the moment, would you say?
Back onto Chelsea. Chelsea have had the better of the play, but they're not really great in the final third at the moment. And they had a good chance with Raheem Sterling guilty of missing an effort. Cole Palmer has just been the best player for Chelsea this season. He rolls a nice quick free kick out to Sterling, who's made a clever little run, but his finishing's awful. He's just had a shot and it's just flown way over the crossbar. They've got to improve on that, and I think if they do, they'll win this match. But 5 minutes coming into half-time, it's Chelsea 1, Wolves 1.
Still waiting for a first goal in our featured game in the Italian Serie A. Napoli 0, Verona 0. Jack Hessens to us in this one. Jack, just seen these stats. Napoli 278 passes, Verona 74 passes. Does that give you a clear indication of what you've seen so far?
Yeah, it absolutely does. It has been all Napoli in this game, dominating possession, dominating the football, but they're not really translating that into enough chances. You mentioned that obviously Victor Osimhen isn't available. He hasn't been for the last 7 games. Giovanni Simeone has been the man to lead the line. Just 1 goal this season, and he's yet to register a shot on target in this game. We're coming up to half-time now, 40 minutes on the clock. It's still Napoli 0, Verona 0.
Thank you very much for that, Jack. I can tell you that Lille are now gone 4-0 up against Clermont right on the stroke of half-time. It's Edon Zegrova, the Kosovan international, that has bagged their 4th. Looks like they're going to take all 3 points, and Clermont are going to be pointless once again, struggling down near the foot of Ligue 1 in France. So that's you bang up to date. Of course, we've got Arsenal against Liverpool coming up a little later on in the show. Jurgen Klopp pitting his wits against Mikel Arteta. It's a game that Arsenal probably need to win more so than Liverpool, because they are 5 points behind Arsenal, are 5 points behind Liverpool at the moment. Liverpool in great form as well. It looks like a showdown between Manchester City and Liverpool for the title. If Arsenal are going to continue being part of that equation, then they need something from that game this afternoon. Talking of Premier League, talking of goals, we've got another one.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
For all their spending, Chelsea should be up there in that title race as well, but they're not, and they are now behind against Wolverhampton Wanderers this afternoon. Chelsea 1, Wolves 2. As a goal for Wolves just a couple of minutes before the break. Wolves were behind to that goal from Cole Palmer. Matheus Cunha then equalised on 22 minutes. The Chelsea lads were only ahead for 3 minutes, and I can tell you Pablo Sarabia has just gone and scored for Wolves. It is now Chelsea 1, Wolves 2. Wolverhampton Wanderers have not won a top flight game away at Chelsea since way back in 1979. Dave Sexton was the manager, and Danny Blanchflower as well. The two managers back then in the day for Chelsea in the late 70s. It's a long, long time since they lost at home to Wolves, but they are doing exactly that this afternoon. It's now Chelsea 1, Wolves 2. Sarabia with a goal. We'll be across to Stamford Bridge and hear from Richard in just a second about that goal. Still Manchester United 1, West Ham 0. Still Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Still Napoli 0, Verona 0. And I tell you, that goal has not gone to Sarabia. It was originally credited to him. It's now been credited to Rayan At-Nouri. Hopefully Richard Bond will be with us in just a second to tell us who it was and who it wasn't that scored that goal. It seems that a couple of sources that I've got in front of me here on the screen are saying At-Nouri has scored the goal. Rayan At-Nouri, just back from the AFCON. Let's go and find out from Richard Bond who did score that goal. One thing we do know, Richard, is it's Wolves have scored and Wolves are leading.
Yeah, Wolves are leading. It's Wolves 2 and Chelsea 1, and it is At-Nouri who's got the goal. And it was a lovely bit of play. Semedo picked the ball up, played in Pedro Neto. Been brilliant this afternoon when he's on the counter. He cuts back for At-Nouri, who scuffs it really, but the ball takes a massive deflection once again, like the first goal. This time it's off Diazy and into the back of the net. It may well be an own goal, so you might have a different score again, Barry, but who knows? All I know at the moment is it's Chelsea 1, Wolves 2, and we're just coming to stoppage time in the first half.
I don't think that Wolves will be that bothered, Rich, but they are leading at Chelsea by 2-1 half-time just around the corner. We will, of course, be heading back to FJ and the team in the Brilla FM studio in a short while. It's your chance to call in or get in touch via social media. What are your thoughts, Chelsea fans listening in? You were ahead, but now you are behind. And what are Chelsea doing? All that money they've spent, how much time are you going to give Pochettino? Is he your man? Do you need to be patient? Is it a process that needs time at Chelsea? Is it a project that needs to evolve over the course of a couple of seasons? Or are you Chelsea fans starting to get impatient? Be good to hear from you. Be good to hear from you if you are an Arsenal fan. What are your predictions this afternoon for the game against Liverpool? It's Arsenal against Liverpool coming up. Andrew Bonacore will be our reporter at that game. Manchester City, of course, are in action tomorrow against Brentford. Manchester City's women are in action this afternoon against Leicester City, and they've left it very late. 82 minutes on the clock. Lauren Hemp giving Manchester City the lead at the Academy Stadium, and then Chloe Kelly added a second very soon after. Manchester City 2, Leicester City 0 in the WSL. Metz 1, Lorient 1 is a half-time in France. Meanwhile, every time we go down the south coast, Nottingham Forest are knocking on the door for an equaliser.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, they're not knocking on the door anymore looking for an equaliser because they have equalised in the game at Bournemouth. It's Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Callum Hudson-Odoi is the goal scorer for Nottingham Forest right at the end of the first half. A minute into stoppage time, Bournemouth, who took the lead really early on, Nottingham Forest equalising 1-1 between Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. The half-time whistle has blown at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United 1, West Ham 0. We'll be across to Molly and hear about that in just a minute. Let's get down to the south coast first of all. Nottingham Forest, Paul James, have finally found that equaliser, and deservedly so.
Yes, absolutely. They've been knocking on the door for a while, and may I just say what a wonderful strike by Callum Hudson-Odoi. First of all, Bournemouth made a terrible mess of clearing the ball, and Callum Hudson-Odoi picked up the ball on the left-hand corner of the penalty area, and he just curled it into the bottom left-hand corner of Neto. He had no chance with that, and Forest are level 1-1. Wherever you get your highlights from, it's worth your investment in your time watching that. 3 minutes of stoppage time. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1.
Thank you very much, Paul. Still 0-0 between Napoli and Verona. Into stoppage time at the end of the first half there. Chelsea 1, Wolves 2. 3 minutes of stoppage time have been played already in that game. And stoppage time, as we've just heard, down at Bournemouth. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Let's head to Molly Sumter. She's at Old Trafford. Manchester United against West Ham United. And it's Manchester United, Molly, that have the advantage at the break.
Yeah, players just walking into the tunnel for half-time here at Old Trafford. Not the most electric half of football we've ever seen, but definitely an interesting one from both sides. Jarrod Bowen, having 7 goals so far in the Premier League this season, really hasn't been particularly active in this match so far. But of course, we got that fantastic goal from Rasmus Højlund, unleashing a fantastic strike on the edge of the penalty area just to beat Alphonse Areola. Had so much power behind that strike. That's a magic moment that he absolutely will take and will remember for a long time. Man United, I think you would say they've been on top so far this half, but I think West Ham definitely have it in them to bring something back in the next 45 minutes. As it stands, we've got half-time here at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United 1, West Ham 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. They are at half-time at Old Trafford, and it's a goal for Rasmus Højlund, the difference between the two sides in that game. So, United leading by 1-0. Wolves leading at Chelsea. I can tell you that the half-time whistle has blown in that. We'll be across now. In fact, we'll go now to Richard Bond at Stamford Bridge. It's not good news for Chelsea fans, Richard.
Not at all. It's half-time here. Chelsea 1, Wolves 2. Strikes from Matthias Cunha, Raidat Nouri have given the away side the lead despite Cole Palmer's 10th league goal of the season. Chelsea have had the possession, but Wolves have been more clinical in the final third, to be honest, and deservedly lead at half-time. Much to think about, really, for Maurizio Pochettino if he's stopped Wolves from getting their first double since 1975 in the second half, and perhaps we may see the introduction of Nicholas Jackson back from Senegal and African Nations League team. But one thing has to happen: they need to be more prolific in front of goals. Chelsea 1, Wolves 2 at half-time.
Well, certainly plenty of goals in the Eredivisie at Utrecht this afternoon. Another goal for Taylor Booth. They now lead Volendam by 3-2. Let's go to the game that we're featuring in Italy. Napoli against Verona. Watching this one. Half-time whistle has blown. Jack Hesson.
Yeah, half-time 0-0 for all their dominance. They haven't made it count in the first half, Napoli. Two of the main real highlight chances were Lorenzo Montipo's great saves to deny Cavaccielli on both occasions. One in the top right-hand corner, one at the bottom left-hand corner. Good saves on both occasions. But Verona, right at the death, nearly caught them out. It was Noslin for about 30 yards. He had Folorusso in front of him, but he opted to go for the pass on the left-hand side to Lazovic, who then tried a curling effort. If he'd went for the pass to Folorusso, then he would have had a clear shot on goal. So Napoli, for all their dominance in this first half, were nearly completely undone by a quick counter-attack. This will worry Napoli fans going into the second half, as without Victor Osimhen, they do really look like they're struggling going forward. Half-time, it's 0-0.
Thank you very much for that, Jack. In the FA Youth Cup, looks like Liverpool are going to go through to the quarter-final. They're leading Fulham by 3-0 at Melwood. Let's head our attentions now to, well, we're still waiting for the half-time whistle to go between Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. 6 minutes of added time there, and we're at half-time. Chelsea 1, Wolves 2, Manchester United 1, West Ham 0, and Napoli 0, Verona 0. We had at least 4 goals in all 5 of our Premier League games yesterday. We've got 2 at Bournemouth, 3 at Stamford Bridge, just the 1 at Old Trafford. Still waiting for our first goal in our Italian game between Napoli and Verona. All the second halves coming up very, very soon. We'll be heading back to Brilla FM in a couple of minutes' time to FJ and the team. It's your chance to voice your opinions. Give FJ a call. What's your tip for the AFCON? Of course, the Super Eagles through and a riveting night of football on Friday. They won through against Angola by 1-0. Ademola Lookman once again on the score sheet, and that semi-final against South Africa coming up this week. What a game that will be. The final is a week today. Will Nigeria be there? We'd like to hear your thoughts on that when FJ and the team take over in just a minute or so from now. Bring you bang up to date with where we're at. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest is a half-time. Let's get across and hear about that first half from Paul James.
Well, it's been a scintillating game of football, actually. Nottingham Forest dominating most of the first half, but Justin Kluivert's goal on 5 minutes gave Bournemouth the early lead. Chances from Taiwo Awoniyi and Ryan Yates both had 2 chances each. but it was Callum Hudson-Odoi's superb strike on 45 minutes that levelled up the scores here at the Vitality Stadium. It's half-time, it's Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1.
Thank you very much, Paul. Wow, what a first half it's been. Bournemouth 1, Forest 1. Chelsea were ahead through Cole Palmer, but Wolves have struck back twice and lead by 2-1. Rasmus Højlund scoring for United, Manchester United that is, and they won 4-3 the other night. Rasmus Højlund scored, that was away at Wolves. Today they're winning 1-0 at home to West Ham United. Rasmus Højlund scoring once again. Napoli 0, Verona 0 in our other match as well. Half time in France, Lille 4, Clermont 0. I think it's fair to say that game is as good as wrapped up, as is Toulouse, who lead by 3-0 away at Rennes. So that's just about bringing you up to date. The half-time whistles are blown. We're looking forward to the second half. We're looking forward, of course, to Arsenal against Liverpool. Be interesting to hear your calls and what you've got to say about all those very interesting subjects. It's time now for me to hand you back to FJ and the team. FJ, over to you.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to Football Live, where I can tell you there has been a goal in the early stages of the second half at Old Trafford.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, he's got a haircut that will light up any stadium. It's Garnacho with the goal. Manchester United leading by 2-0. Does take a wicked deflection. And I'm sure Molly Sumter can throw some more light on that in just a few moments' time. So Manchester United 2, West Ham 0. Let's head, shall we, to Chelsea against Wolves. Chelsea have had a good chance in this... Wolves have had a good chance in the early stages of the second half. Richard Bond.
Yeah, Wolves trying to pounce on Chelsea's lack of poor defending at the moment, and it's Pau Sarabia fit in Pedro Neto. He holds off a defender really to get a shot away, and it's driven straight at Petrovic, but it's really powerful. He's just had to get a strong fist on it just to pounce it wide of the post. But positive start for Wolves. It's Chelsea 1, Wolves 2, 2 minutes in the second half.
Thank you very much, Rich. Let's go to Old Trafford, hear about that second goal. I said there was a big deflection, but everyone seems to have given the goal to Alejandro Garnacho. Here's Molly Sumter to tell us all about that second United goal.
Yeah, you're exactly right there, Barry, about the deflection. It's a great switch from Bruno Fernandes that finds Alejandro Garnacho on the right-hand side, who unleashes a great shot across goal. As you said, takes a massive deflection off the head of one of the West Ham defenders, but it means nothing to Garnacho. He's got his goal. He's gone and sat on the advertising boards. Very minimal celebrations from him, but a great start to the second half for Manchester United. It's 49 minutes on the clock. Manchester United 2, West Ham 0.
2 goals at Bournemouth, 3 goals at Chelsea, 2 goals up at Old Trafford. Let's go to the game at Bournemouth. Bournemouth 1, Forest 1 at half-time. Second half is underway. Let's join Paul James, who can tell us about a change, a substitution for Bournemouth at half-time.
Yes, the disappointing Antoine Semenyo has been replaced by Marcus Tavernier at the start of the second half, as Bournemouth attempt to try to get control of this game again. But the start of the second half, no chances as of yet. It's Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1.
Thank you very much for that, Paul. Let's head back to Stamford Bridge, shall we? Chelsea were ahead, then they were behind. They could have been further behind. A chance early in the second half for Wolves, but now a decent chance, Richard Bonds, for Chelsea.
Looks like I'm going to be busy in this second half, and it's Raheem Sterling's had a chance. A really good one for Chelsea. Really, Cole Palmer clips the ball over the top. Chilwell then, who lays it off to Sterling, just on the edge of the box. So he's just smashed the shot low towards the corner, but he's just kind of not quite got hold of it. It's just flown wide. Good chance for Chelsea, that. It's Chelsea 1, Wolves 2.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that update. Let's go to Jack Hesson. He is watching our featured game in Italy, in Serie A. Of course, no Victor Osimhen at the moment for Napoli, and they are currently firing a blank against a Verona side who are not very good away from home. 0-0 early into the second half. Jack, Napoli still the dominant force in this game?
Well, Verona have came flying out of the traps at the start of the second half. 3 excellent chances. First one, free kick whipped in towards the back post. Diego Coppola was there. His shot went wide. just as you came to me there, Lazovic had a shot from distance, almost Golini into a great save, the resulting corner, whipped into Chachoa at the back post, and his header went just wide. So 3 massive chances in the opening 5 minutes of the second half for Verona. Napoli struggling here, 50 minutes on the clock. It's Napoli 0, Verona 0.
Thank you very much for your update there, Jack. Yesterday, full of goals, wasn't it? Plenty of goals in the games, including Burnley 2. Fulham 2. Fulham were 2-0 up there, but the Ivorian super sub David Fofana stepped into the action, and the man on loan from Chelsea scored 2 goals to give Burnley a point. Whether it's enough in the grand scheme of things, I'm not too sure, but here is David Fofana.
I'm so happy to score, when you score the last goal on the 19-1, for me it's crazy because it's the last time, so yeah, it was crazy. And then before I came on, he said to me also the same thing. Focus, David. We need you. We want you to help the team. And then why not also score? I said that we score. Because I was like focus on that. To help the team. And then
So that was David Fofana. Fulham also bringing on a substitute in Armando Broja, also on loan from Chelsea. He was unable to hit the net, but here he is talking about his move on loan from Chelsea for the rest of the season to Fulham.
For me, I just felt like Fulham was the best club in a way that suited me also, I mean, they've had some good number 9s here before. Obviously, Mitrovic was here as well, so I know they've got obviously Jimenez, but he picked up the injury. So for me, it was kind of like an easy one as well. If I want to go there, I want to play, help out the team as much as possible. Play as much as possible, try and score as many goals as I can, meet all the players, meet all the staff and everything, and, try and really bond with everyone here. So, it was kind of like a easy one, not being too far as well down the road. So, it was a good one.
Yeah, so 2 Chelsea strikers on loan at those 2 clubs coming on and making an impact in their own way. Let's head to Chelsea, shall we? They are knocking on the door, looking for an equaliser at Stamford Bridge against Wolves. It's still Chelsea 1, Wolves 2, but Richard Bond, Chelsea have come close again.
Through the chances, and it's a good one for Chelsea again. This corner came in from the right-hand side, played in by Ben Chilwell. It's met the head of Thiago Silva, the centre half. He's just risen above his marker, and it's just tried to guide it towards the far post, but it's just gone wide of the back post there. Oh, so close for Chelsea, agonising. Chelsea 1, Wolves 2.
Thank you very much for that, Richard Bond, down at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea trailing home to Wolves by 2-1. Seems to always be goals where Wolves are concerned at the moment. 4-3 in the week against Manchester United, a 4-3 defeat at Molineux. What a game that was too. Kobbie Mainoo scoring deep into stoppage time after Wolves had got themselves back from 3-1 down to 3-3. What a game that was. What a game it was yesterday in the city of Newcastle. Newcastle United 4, Luton Town 4. Luton beaten Brighton 4-0 in the midweek round of fixtures as well. Nottingham Forest lost to Arsenal in the week. They're drawing at Bournemouth this afternoon. West Ham drew with Bournemouth in the week. They're losing at Manchester United this afternoon. Of course, it goes without saying we have a big game coming right up. It's Arsenal against Liverpool. We will hear from those managers very, very soon in that game. And so still 2-0 to Manchester United in the game at Old Trafford. Sorry, just glanced at the screen there, thinking there might be a third Manchester United goal, but it was actually the television coverage re-showing Garnacho's sitting on the advertising board, as Molly mentioned earlier. I thought he'd gone and done it again and got a third, but he wasn't. They were just recapping on the chance that he buried via deflection to make it 2-0 very early in the second half. Let's head back to Old Trafford, shall we, and catch up with Molly. Still on top, Manchester United. The third goal would surely kill it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, the Red Devils here definitely sitting on top. On Rasmus Højlund's 21st birthday, I'm sure he'll be quite happy with the performance they've put in so far. Good present for him, that goal as well. Nothing quite clear-cut coming again just yet for Man United. West Ham seeming to look quite deflated with those 2 goals, but we'll wait to see what happens next here. It's 57 minutes on the clock. Man United 2, West Ham 0.
Thanks, Molly. I'm just looking up. Marcus Rashford has had a good chance from the edge of the penalty area. Now, there's one thing, trying to hit the target. They always say to a footballer, hit the target. Well, Marcus Rashford was lucky to hit the lower tier of the Stretford end with that shot. It was high, wide, and not very good. It was an awful shot. He then swings at thin air with his left foot in anger. He knows that he really, for a player of his quality, should be scoring from there. Similar kind of distance from where he scored the other night in the game away at Wolves to give United that early lead in the first, 5 or 6 minutes, wasn't it? But that shot just now, absolutely awful. Let's get back to the other two games. First of all, we'll go down to the South Coast. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Here's Paul James. Paul, Bournemouth have had another chance.
Yes, that's right. A free kick about 22 yards out that was taken by Justin Kluivert right in the centre. He curled the shot. It looked like it was going in, but the header was there from Taiwo Awoniyi, and he deflected it wide for a corner. Talking about high and not so handsome, Ryan Christie had a shot from the edge of the area, and I think it landed somewhere in the English Channel. It's Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1, 53 minutes gone.
Thank you very much, Paul. Looks like we're running a course on how to finish in front of goal in the Premier League at the moment. Marcus Rashford isn't the only one who's swung high, wide and handsome by the sounds of it. The ball in the English Channel, according to our reporter Paul James down at the Vitality. Let's get down to business in Serie A. We're about 10-11 minutes into the second half, still 0-0, but a chance, Jack Hassan, for Napoli.
Yeah, and another really great save from Verona keeper Lorenzo Montipo. It was a corner, not well dealt with. Lobotka spots Juan Jesus has run into the box. He finds a pass. Juan Jesus on the left-hand side plays it across to Simeone. Simeone gets his foot in front of it. It's a good shot towards the goal, but straight at Montipo. Montipo still had to save it, and he did so. Really has kept Verona in this game so far. 56 minutes on the clock. It's still Napoli 0, Verona 0.
Thank you very much for that, Jack. Let's head back to Chelsea. Richard Bond, are Chelsea still knocking on the door, or Wolves starting to look a little bit more comfortable in the early stages of the second half?
They are very much so, Wolves, and on the counter-attack, very much like the first. Chelsea had the play, they come up the other end. Wolves had a couple of free kicks, he's getting a bit niggly. Paulo Sarabia is very good on those set-piece scenarios, and he had one shot which just went into the side netting on a free kick. He tried to bend over the wall. But at the moment, though, Chelsea, not quite there for them at the moment. It's Chelsea 1, Wolves 2, 56 minutes on the clock.
Thank you very much, Richard. Another goal in the Eredivisie for Utrecht, and Taylor Booth, he's got his hat-trick, 6 minutes from time. Utrecht 4, Volendam 2. Taylor Booth, American international, who was brought through the ranks at Bayern Munich. So he's got good stock. He ended up going to Utrecht a couple of years ago. He just hasn't got going. He's only scored a couple of goals up until now, and he's gone and got a hat-trick today. And finally, he seems to have got his shooting boots and arrived on the scene. The former Real Salt Lake City player. But that's 22-year-old Taylor Booth. Keep mentioning him, so I thought I'd give you some background to him because he's just gone and completed his hat-trick. In France, Metz 1, Lorient 2. Panos Katsaris has reinstated Lorient's advantage away from home in that game as the second halves in our 3 games in the Premier League continue to roll into the final half an hour or so. There's a double change and a yellow card for Paul James to tell us about down at Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest.
Yes, and I think the two are linked, believe it or not. Andrew Omodelli picked up the yellow card. He was initially shoved in the back by Justin Kluivert, who's already been booked. Now, the referee booked Omodelli, and then Bournemouth made an immediate double substitution, taking off Ryan Christie and Justin Kluivert and bringing on Philip Billing and Alex Scott. 56 minutes gone, Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1.
Thank you very much for that, Paul. The comeback might be on for Rennes in France. Teddy Tuma has scored 4 minutes into the second half. It's now Rennes 1, Toulouse 3. They were 3-0 down at half time. Yesterday in the Premier League, Everton 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Richarlison with 2 goals against his old club. Brighton 4, Crystal Palace 1 in the M23 derby. João Pedro amongst the goals. Another big loss for Palace on the road. Burnley 2, Fulham 2. We just heard from David Fofana on loan from Chelsea, netting 2 goals after coming on as a substitute after Fulham had taken a 2-0 lead lead at half-time. Newcastle against Luton ended up 4-4. Elijah Adebayo scoring once again. Harvey Barnes returning from injury on as a sub to equalise to make it 4-4. 2 for Sean Longstaff in that game. We'll hear from him a little later on in the show. Sheffield United 0, Aston Villa 5. I think it's safe to say you can write off Sheffield United's chances of survival, at least if you are basing it on that performance last night. Sheffield United 0, Aston Villa 5. Leon Bailey, Ollie Watkins, John McGinn, Yuri Tillemans and Alex Moreno scoring for Villa. They were 3-0 up after just 20 minutes in that game. And that's where we are at the moment. Let's go back to Italy. Another chance for Napoli. And to tell us about it, here's Jack Hesson.
Yeah, it was Cavazzelli on the left-hand side. He had a freedom in the left wing to advance towards the Verona box, gets inside, does a really great quick directional change to beat Chikachoa, who was in front of him. He found the space for a tight left-hand side finish with his left foot, and it just fizzed wide across the goal. So Napoli knocking at the door, 60 minutes on the clock. It's still Napoli 0, Verona 0.
Well, 4 matches were played yesterday in Serie A. Udinese against Monza and Empoli against 10-man Genoa. Both ended 0-0, but it did get better in the later matches. AC Milan 3-2 winners at Frosinone. Milan were trailing 2-1 until striking twice in the last 18 minutes to win. Luka Vojic with the winning goal. And then Bologna, well, they won 4-2 against Sassuolo. Bologna were winning in that game by 2-1, but then... Sassuolo were winning that game by 2-1, but then Bologna scoring 3 goals in the last 18 minutes, just like the AC Milan come back from 2-1 down, leaving it to the last 18 minutes for that. Let's go to Old Trafford and a change for Manchester United. Molly Sumter.
Yeah, it's Kobbie Mainoo, that youngster we were talking about earlier, who has made way for Scott McTominay to come on. We know he's got a few goals in his locker should Man United need him. But Kobbie Mainoo, the one we really have been talking... Everyone's been talking about Kobbie Mainoo recently. He is such a promising talent for Manchester United and the Premier League as a whole. So we'll see what this change does to the game. As it stands, 64 minutes on the clock. Manchester United 2, West Ham 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. So West Ham heading to only their second defeat in 12 Premier League games at half-time in the Bundesliga. I can tell you Hoffenheim leading at Wolfsburg by 1-0. Chelsea are pushing and probing and trying to find themselves a goal, but...
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
It really isn't good news for Chelsea fans. It's Chelsea 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 3 now at Stamford Bridge. A third goal. By the way, the second goal has been credited as an own goal to Disasi. To make it 2-1 just before half-time. Well, we're just past the hour mark. It's a second goal in the game for Matheus Cunha. He continues that wonderful form down the left-hand side, and he scored another goal this afternoon. And Chelsea now face an uphill battle to even claim a point in that game. Chelsea 1, Wolves 3, and Chelsea, of course, go to Aston Villa in a replay in the FA Cup this week, which will not be easy as they look to maintain their hopes in the FA Cup. Of course, they are in the final of the Carabao Cup, which is around about the end of February. I think it's 3 or 4 weekends from now. We'll have that covered right here on Football Live. Chelsea against Liverpool, a repeat of the 2022 final. Let's go to... we won't go to Chelsea yet because we're going to catch up with Richard Bond to tell us all about that third Wolverhampton Wanderers goal. Not a good afternoon so far for Chelsea. 64 minutes gone. Chelsea 1, Wolves 3. Let's go back to Italy. Another chance, but this time Jack Hesson has gone to the visitors, Verona.
Yeah, it was a really good chance. Corner whipped in. It was Diego Coppola, the centre-half, had a free header in the middle of the box. He just had to try and guide his header into either corner, and he skied his header over the bar. So, despite Napoli's dominance in this game, it still feels like at the moment it could go either way. 64 minutes on the clock, it's still Napoli 0, Verona 0.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Jack. Let's head to Stamford Bridge and all about all about that third goal for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Here is Richard Bond.
Yeah, Chelsea fans have got to be wondering what's going on here. They look the more threatening, but Wolves have scored, and it's Chelsea 2 behind now, and it's all about Pedro Neto. He's been the best player on the pitch by a country mile this afternoon. He's really good down that right-hand side. plays in Cunha just outside the edge of the box. He's just hit it first time into the back of the net. It's absolute fantastic goal. You know, they're celebrating in front of the away end. The home fans are silent here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 1, Wolves 3. 63 minutes gone.
Excellent, thanks very much, Richard. Yesterday, PSV Eindhoven, well, they built up their 13-point lead at the top of the Eredivisie after a 1-1 draw at Ajax. Luuk de Jong's 18th goal of the season for PSV. That's 10 in 8 for him. That lead at the top, 13 points, has been cut down to 10 today because of victory for Feyenoord. They've gone and won AZ Alkmaar by 1-0 in the lunchtime kickoff in the Netherlands. So that lead for PSV cut down to 10 points. They're still unbeaten at Feyenoord, the champions from last season, still putting on a chase. Looks like they're going to finish second though, and PSV will race to the title. So Matheus Cunha with a double to give Wolves a 3-1 lead in the game at Stamford Bridge. Let's go down to Bournemouth, where the referee has got his yellow cards out again. Still Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Paul James, who's got the yellow card this time?
Yes, this time it's gone to the coach for Nottingham Forest, Nuno Espirito Santo. He was remonstrating a little bit too much, and Rebecca Welsh, the referee, came over and brandished the yellow card to Nuno. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1, 63 minutes gone at the Vitality Stadium.
Thank you very much for that, Paul. Let's head to Old Trafford. Manchester United, last time we heard, leading by 2-0. There's a shake of the head from Martinez. He's picked up an injury. He's gone off, got some treatment, come back on again. But it's not looking good, is it, Molly?
No, I think if you remember, he had to come off in the game against Wolves in midweek. Erik ten Hag insisting that was purely just precaution as he started today. But he's got into a bit of an altercation with Koufal, I believe it is, and looks as though he's putting all of his body weight onto one knee, having a bit of an issue there, which will be worrying for Manchester United. He's been very good at holding that defence together today. He is back on the pitch, but we'll see how much longer he can last. As it stands, though, Manchester United 2, West Ham 0.
And quickly across to Stamford Bridge, and we can catch up with Richard Bond. And Richard, nearly a fourth goal for Wolverhampton Wanderers, and a substitution for Chelsea you can tell us about.
Yeah, nearly a fourth goal for Wolves. I tell you what, the front three they've got of Sarabia, Cunha and Neto have been brilliant, and it's Neto again who's found Cunha, and he's just sliced the shot just when he's in a good position. It's just gone wide the post, and that really could have been 4-0 and game over. Chelsea reacted by bringing on Nicholas Jackson now. They've got 22 minutes to save this game, but at the moment it looks Wolves the more likely side. It's Chelsea 1, Wolves 3 with 22 minutes to go.
Excellent, thank you very much for that, Richard Bond. You are listening to Football Live, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
You are listening to Football Live, live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Get involved in NairaBet Sunday Special and net yourself a free bet. Arsenal face Liverpool at the Emirates, and we are giving away a 100% matched free bet up to 1,000 Naira. Whether you back the Gunners or the Reds, even if your bet does not win, you will still be eligible for the free bet. All you need to do is log in to www.nairabet.com. Bet on Arsenal vs Liverpool. Receive your free bet to use on any sports or virtuals. The qualifier does place a bet on either the pre-match markets or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18, minimum odds of 1.5. Must be a real money bet. Cashed out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
You are listening to Football Live, live and exclusive on Brila FM.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brila FM with Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM.
Football Live will be paying very close attention to the Premier League title race on next Saturday's show. Every point counts as the Premier League title reaches the crucial part of the season. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City are in action. They're at home against Everton at the Etihad. Anfield is usually a fortress for Liverpool, so they will be expected to pick up 3 points. They're at home to struggling Burnley. Tottenham Hotspur have their eyes on the top 4, but will they be able to get the better of Brighton and Hove Albion when the two sides meet in North London? Wolves against Brentford, Bournemouth go to Fulham. It's going to be a busy Saturday afternoon with the AFCON final and the AFC Asian Cup final also on the agenda. It promises to be quite an afternoon of first-class football action next Saturday. And you can follow every kick, every card, every VAR controversy right here on Football Live. Oh, and we promise to throw in a few goals too.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Yes, welcome back. Let's head straight back to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 3-1 down at home against the Wolverhampton Wanderers. He's come back from the AFCON. He's come on as a sub. And Nicholas Jackson had a huge chance for Chelsea, Richard.
Oh, yeah, and he's missed an absolute sitter. I tell you what, it was a really good chance. So on the right-hand side, Gusto has been so good this season attacking. He's beat his man. He's just whipped in a delightful ball, placed on the head of Jackson. He probably just hasn't quite got the contact right. Maybe a player suffering from a lack of confidence, but he hasn't quite got it on, and it's just gone flying wide the post. The fans are booing. You know, it's not good atmosphere here at all for Chelsea. They're behind, 2 goals behind. Chelsea 1, Wolves 3. They've still got 20 minutes to go, though.
Excellent, thank you very much for that, Richard. Let's go to Old Trafford. There's been a couple of changes in that game. Scoreline's still the same, though, isn't it, Molly?
Yeah, it's a change Man United wouldn't have wanted to make. Just moments after he returned to the pitch, Martinez has gone down, holding his legs. He seems to be in quite a fair bit of pain. Physio have run on, and that's the end of his involvement today. Varane whips on his shirt to replace him. In the meantime, West Ham have made a couple of changes themselves. That new signing, Calvin Phillips, has come on for Souček, and Kufal has made way for Maxwell Cornet. What those changes can do in the closing quarter of an hour we have left of this game here. 74 minutes on the clock. It's Man United 2, West Ham 0.
Excellent, thank you very much, Molly. So 2 goals at the Vitality, 4 goals at Stamford Bridge, 2 goals at Old Trafford. We haven't had a goal yet at the Diego Armando Maradona, but that has just changed.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Because there has been a goal. Which way's it gone? Well, let's go and find out, shall we? Let's cross to Italy and to Jack Hesson.
Well, it has been coming for Verona in this second half, and now it is here. Free kick. Andres Duda on the left-hand side whips a beautiful ball in. This time it finds Diego Coppola again in the middle of the box, a free header, and this time he hits it in the back of the net. A big, massive goal in this game for Verona, and Napoli really need to kick into gear now. 72 minutes on the clock. It's Napoli 0, Hellas Verona 1.
They really are having a shocking season, aren't they, Napoli, after winning the title last year. Not helped, of course, by Victor Osimhen having that injury and coming back and then going back off to the AFCON. So it's been a stop-start season for Napoli and for Victor Osimhen. And another defeat is looking likely. Diogo Coppola with the goal in that game. So that's where we're at the moment. Let's go back to Stamford Bridge. Any sign of a Chelsea comeback? I can tell you, though, Richard can tell us about a couple of changes, if nothing else. A couple of substitutions, Richard.
Yeah, they try to freshen it up now, and I think they have to go for it. And they've brought on Mudryk, who's come on, and Chukwemba as well. Sterling has been ineffective, really wasteful. He's gone off, and Kuku's gone off as well. And for Wolves as well, also they've made changes. Sarabia and Neto have both gone off as they look to shore things up. Belgrande did a big man up. He's stayed up there, and Doyle's come into midfield. So Wolves looking to hold on, Chelsea looking to push. 15 minutes to go. Who can do what? It's Chelsea 1, Wolves 3.
Thank you very much for that, and Richard. Let's go around the grounds and get a catch-up, shall we? First of all, to Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest. All the goals coming in the first half. Is there to be a winner in this game, potentially, Paul James? And if so, which way is it going to go?
Well, I have to be honest, it's very slim on chances in the second half. Bournemouth have just made another substitution. Dango Ouattara has come on. He's back from the AFCON with Burkina Faso, and he has come on for Luis Sinisterra. Forest have also made a change with Nicolas Dominguez off for Danilo, but it's still 1-1, 72 minutes gone.
Let's go back to the game at Old Trafford. Molly Sumter watching this one. United just a little over 10 minutes away from a good 3 points.
Yeah, Manchester United, as you said, just close to that 3 points, but West Ham aren't making it easy in these final stages, pushing on quite far. Those changes, Cornet and Phillips definitely getting themselves involved as much as they can in the last kind of 10-15 minutes or so. It'll be a testing last few stages for Man United. It'll be interesting to see how they can handle it. As it stands, though, 76 minutes on the clock. Manchester United 2, West Ham 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. Let's go back to Stamford Bridge and Richard Bond. Big boos being rung around Stamford Bridge by the home fans for Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, he's had a bad game, but I think it's the general frustration that's coming from this game. Chelsea fans are upset. They're really not doing well. 7 goals have shipped in 2 games. Things aren't going right under Pochettino at the moment, and Raheem Sterling's taking the deflection of the frustrations. He didn't seem really bothered when he's going off. He went off quite slowly, and I think that's a growing frustration that the team is not working at the moment. And today, I'm afraid, they have to do something special to turn this one round. But it's Chelsea 1, Wolves 3 with 15 minutes to go.
Thank you very much. Interesting one, that, Richard. Right, let's focus on Arsenal against Manchester. Not against Manchester United, wishful thinking. We just heard from Manchester United, haven't we? They're already looking like they're going to claim 3 points this afternoon. It's Arsenal against Liverpool, big one this at the top of the Premier League. Kick-off is just under an hour away. Let's hear from the two managers, shall we? Mikel Arteta, first of all, the Arsenal manager.
All we need to do is play like we played the last 2 games against them. And be more efficient in the areas that's going to decide the game. But very excited. It's always great to prepare a game against Liverpool. How good they are, they dominate every aspect of the game. And we play at home. And what I sense is a real sense of positivity and enthusiasm around the place. Obviously, we had some big experiences, and what we did last year, it was another big step. And this season, we are trying to do something even better, and we are in the Champions League as well, which was a big step. And yeah, the squad is better. It's true that we have some very, very important injuries within that, but I think the squad has managed really well.
That was Mikel Arteta, and the team that he puts out this afternoon, I can tell you, Raya in goal. You've got White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Rice, Jorginho, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli and Havertz. Jesus is not in, Gabriel Jesus is not in the starting lineup, and he's not on the bench either after picking up a knock. So that's your Arsenal team. Let's turn our attentions to Liverpool. Before I tell you their team, here's Jurgen Klopp speaking about the trip to the Emirates.
It's good, but you cannot really add that on. Shall I go to the boys in the dressing room and say, if we win against Arsenal, we are 8 points will it be then? Yeah, between us and them. It's really, everyone knows that. If we lose, we are still 2 points ahead. So, but then City is the big winner of a game where they're not even involved. That's outside talks, and fine. Improve from the games we played against them. Learn from the games we played against them, because they're really good and they ask for a lot, and try to win. That's all. It's difficult enough anyway. At Arsenal, it's probably more difficult anyway. But we are in a good moment, and we should use that as well. And the things we did well recently, yeah, we should pack into this game as well. So let's give it a try.
Interesting from Jurgen Klopp. Interesting team selection for him as well. Thiago is back on the bench. Robertson is on the bench as well. Liverpool lining out with Alisson, Gomez, Van Dijk, Konate, Diaz, McAllister, Jones, Gakpo, Jota, Gravenberch and Alexander-Arnold starts as well. There is no place in the squad for the youngster who we heard from much earlier on in the show, of course, Connor Bradley. He's not playing for Liverpool this afternoon. In the meantime, there's been another goal in our game in Italy.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And I can tell you that Napoli have equalised in that game. Also, there has been a penalty awarded at Stamford Bridge. Wolves have been given a penalty. It's Chelsea 1, Wolves 3. Is Chelsea's afternoon just about to get a whole lot worse? We'll be across to hear about that from Richard Bond in just a minute or two. So let's have a little look. Where should we go next? Should we hear about the goal at Napoli? Naples is the place to be, isn't it? Let's get across to Jack Hesson. He's gone a whole long time without a goal, and then two come along fairly quickly, and Napoli have managed to get themselves back into this game, Jack.
Yeah, they're right back into this game. The play was on the left-hand side. Mazzocchi played in Lindstrom. Lindstrom's ball across the face of goal. Found Saul Ngongi, the new signing for Napoli, who's just came from Hellas Verona, the team that he's playing against at the moment. So a big moment for him getting that goal. But Napoli back in this game. 80 minutes on the clock. It's Napoli 1, Verona 1.
Excellent, thank you very much for that. Just hearing that Conor Bradley not in the Liverpool team today, and sadly his father has passed away. Of course, he's a fairly young player, so that's a bit of a shock there. His father passing away in the last 24 hours, so our condolences to the Liverpool player Conor Bradley, who of course we heard from earlier on in the show. And that's very, very sad news indeed. He doesn't play for Liverpool this afternoon. Shall we rattle in some Premier League goals for you? Just for good measure, I'm going to give you this twice.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And I can tell you that Wolves have converted their spot kick. It's now Chelsea 1, Wolves 4, and they are going to win at Stamford Bridge for the first time since 1979.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And Manchester United are guaranteed 3 points of their own. And Alejandro Garnacho has scored his second goal of the afternoon to make it Manchester United 3, West Ham 0. And he didn't need a deflection this time to put the ball into the back of the net. He runs on to a pass from McTominay and makes it 3-0. Let's go to Stamford Bridge, and Richard Bond can bring us news of another goal against for Chelsea, and also news of a Premier League hat-trick.
Unbelievable stuff here. It's Chelsea 1, Wolves 4, and it's Matthias Cunha who's got the fourth goal from the penalty spot, completed hat-trick. And it was Cunha who managed to get the penalty himself, roasting Gusto on the edge of the area. He just took him out. Lucky not to get a second yellow card. He was shortly taken off straight away. He picked himself back up and sent the keeper the wrong way to complete his hat-trick and to complete the 3 points for Wolves. Like you say, first victory for Wolves in a long, long time. Today, I think it's Chelsea 1, Wolves 4, but we've still got 7 minutes to play.
I was wondering if those two teams that played Thursday, Wolves and Manchester United, served up a thriller, didn't they? Wolves lost 4-3, but they've scored 4 tonight. Manchester United won 4-3. They've scored 3 today. Let's hear about that third goal at Old Trafford. They're putting West Ham to the sword, and it's that man Garnacho again, isn't it, Molly?
Yeah, West Ham get extremely unlucky. It's Calvin Phillips in midfield. He's not been on very long, but he doesn't show a great amount of strength. And Scott McTominay, the Manchester United substitute, just manages to snatch it off of him. Threads it through to Garnacho, who goes on a fabulous solo run off to the right-hand side. Across goal he goes, and it finds the bottom left-hand corner of Fabianski's net. A perfect end to the game for Manchester United. This should seal the deal for them. As it says, 86 minutes on the clock. Man United 3, West Ham 0.
5 games in the Premier League yesterday, and they all produced a minimum of 4 goals. We've passed that landmark at Chelsea. They've only got 1 of the 5 that have been scored at Stamford Bridge. Wolves winning 4-1 there. Cunha hat-trick. Manchester United 3, West Ham 0. We still haven't quite got our 4-goal benchmark there. Doesn't look like we're going to get it at Bournemouth. It's 1-1 between the Cherries and the Tricky Trees at the Vitality Stadium. Let's go to Italy. Another big chance for Napoli. Jack Hesson.
Yeah, Napoli absolutely should have scored there. It was Stuart Serdar, the midfielder for Verona, messing about with it. Cavazziglia pouncing on his missed possession. He's got Simeone in the middle, plays in Simeone, and Simeone's touch is so poor. Montipo's able to get out to him. He tries to loop it over Montipo, and it's a poor shot that goes wide. Again, speaking to Simeone's difficulties in this game, difficulties in this season, Osimhen is out and Simeone's in, and he's really struggled in this game. 84 minutes on the clock, it's still Napoli 1, Verona 1.
Thank you very much for that. Sounds like an interesting end to the game. Is it going to be an interesting end to the game at Stamford Bridge?
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
I can tell you that Chelsea have got a goal back. It's now Chelsea 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 4. There's only about 4 minutes to go, but Chelsea have got a second goal in that game. And it's come from Thiago Silva, who manages to bundle the ball home from close range to give us a scoreline of Chelsea 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 4. We'll be across to hear about that in just a second. Let's quickly pop down to Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest. It's a game that hasn't produced a goal in the second half yet. Still 1-1 and a Bournemouth substitution, Paul James.
Yes, their fifth substitution and final one, of course. Milas Kerkez has come on for Lloyd Kelly. The new loan signing, Giovanni Reina, has come on for Nottingham Forest along with Gonzalo Montiel for Elanga and Nicolas Dominguez. And it is Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1 with 83 minutes gone.
Thank you very much for that. Let's quickly go to Richard Bond. A sixth goal in that game at Stamford Bridge. And it's obviously choking Richard because he can barely get his words out. Richard, tell us all about that goal for Chelsea. It's probably too little too late, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think that was me. But it was a goal back for Chelsea, and it's Mateo Mudrik's corner's come in, and he's found Thiago Silva really well in the box. Clean header, straight in the back of the net. Chelsea fans unmoved, hardly celebrating this goal. They know their side are beaten. Or are they? 3 minutes to go here. Chelsea 2, Wolves 4.
Let's quickly get down to the south coast. There's been a red card in the game between Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. Paul James.
That's correct. That's correct, Barry. And it is the substitute Philip Billing who has been sent off. His studs went up on Callum Hudson-Odoi. And really, it was a silly challenge because he wasn't going anywhere. But Rebecca Welsh, the referee, has shown a straight red to Philip Billing. And Bournemouth are down to 10 men with 6 minutes to go. Bournemouth 1, Forest 1.
Thank you very much for that, Paul. We've had a few goals in the last few minutes. Should we add another one to our collection? I think we jolly well should.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And I can tell you that after falling behind to Verona, who haven't won, incidentally, in 11 away from home, it's now Napoli 2, Verona 1 in Serie A in Italy. Who needs Victor Osimhen when you've got Kavica Kvaratskhelia? I think that's how you pronounce it. I always struggle with that name, but what a player he is, and he's just gone and scored a second goal. And the 88th minute, we'll hear all about that goal in just a few moments' time. So let's get to our feature game this afternoon, and the later kickoff, of course. It's Arsenal against Liverpool. A great win for Jurgen Klopp on Wednesday against Chelsea. Beat them by 4-1. It's really not been a good time at the moment for Chelsea, has it? They were thoroughly convincingly beaten at Anfield. And here's what Jurgen Klopp said about that win over Chelsea.
Start really good, super important. So the story of the game is the story of the game, but the story of the game could have been completely different if you don't start like we start, I would say. So that's how it is. You have try, we always try, we don't do always, but we try to give a game, a direction, and this direction was clear in the beginning. And then we have chances, we miss them, we score goals, should have scored more, missed a penalty. The game felt in the first half more dominant than it actually was. I'm super happy with the performance, just because we had problems, we overcame them, and a lot of good moments.
Well, that was Jurgen Klopp. Let's cross for the first time this afternoon to Andrew Bonacore at the Emirates. It's Arsenal against Liverpool. We did touch quickly on the starting 11s, but to give us a little bit more detail of the team news, here is Andrew Bonacore. Good afternoon, Andrew.
Good afternoon to you, Barry. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, 5 points off their opponents today at the top of the Premier League makes this not necessarily a must-win game for Arteta's Gunners, but certainly a must-not-lose The Arsenal boss is without Gabriel Jesus, who's out with an ankle injury, while Emile Smith-Rowe drops down to the bench. So Jorginho and Kai Havertz starting today. He's got David Raya in goal. He's got White, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko across the back. Declan Rice, Jorginho and captain Martin Odegaard are in midfield with an attacking three of Saka, Martinelli and Havertz right up front. Meanwhile, Jurgen Klopp, who we heard from there, has told Liverpool fans to forget about him leaving and just enjoy the rest of the season. He's got a few absentees today. He's got no Szoboszlai or Conor Bradley available for him. But Gakpo, Gravenberch and Trent do start. Núñez is fit, but only fit enough for a place on the bench, whereas he has Thiago beside him after months out through injury. So Alisson in goal for Liverpool, Gomez, Van Dijk, Konate and Trent in defence, McAllister, Gravenberch, Jones and Gakpo in midfield, with Diogo Jota and Diaz further forward. In terms of bets, NairaBet, if you go to nairabet.com, they've got Arsenal at 2.3, Liverpool at 3 for the win, and the draw at 3.75. Apart from the Super Eagles mania, this is the game of the weekend from the Emirates Stadium. It's Arsenal versus Liverpool.
Thank you very much, Andrew. We'll be across to have a chat with you a little bit closer to kick-off. Talking to Liverpool, the Liverpool women in the WSL have equalised in the 91st minute against Tottenham Hotspur at Prenton Park this afternoon. It's 1-1. Maria-Therese Hobbinger has scored for the Reds up there on the Wirral. So 1-1 in that game. Let's head back to Stamford Bridge, where I can tell you there's 10 minutes of stoppage time. And Richard Bond, Chelsea just had a big penalty shout, didn't they?
Can we have any more drama in this game? I'll tell you what, Chelsea nearly back into it. Conor Gallagher was convinced he was going to get a penalty. He went down under the challenge right Nori. The referee went to VAR, and usually when that happens, you think, oh, we're going to get something here. Nothing given after the review, though. So Wolves, they came away from that one maybe a little bit lucky. I'm not sure there, but 10 minutes to go in this one. Anything can still happen. It's Chelsea 2, Wolves 4.
Thank you very much, Richard. Let's head to Old Trafford, where a chance for Manchester United and Scott McTominay, one of their top scorers this season, very close to making it 4-0, Molly.
Yeah, it's Marcus Rashford who's linked up perfectly with Scott McTominay on the edge of the box. He fires a shot just wide of the left post. It's inches wide, really, really close to making it 4 for Manchester United. We've had 6 minutes added on here. I think we're about 4 minutes into that, so just a couple of minutes left to go in this game. Should have been 4, but as it stands, it's Manchester United 3, West Ham 0.
Thanks, Molly. The Croatian Lovro Mayer has equalised for Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga against Hoffenheim. It's 1-1 in that game at the VW Arena. We're into 6 minutes of stoppage time at Old Trafford. 3-0 there. We just heard from Molly. Around about a minute of stoppage time remaining in that game. Deep into stoppage time at Chelsea. There are 10 minutes of stoppage time there. A red card at Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, as we heard. It's 1-1 in that game. They're into stoppage time in that game as well. Manchester United 3, West Ham United 0. We're going to hand you back now to FJ and the team in the Brilla FM studios. It's your chance to have your say on social media and by calling into the studio. But don't worry, we'll be back here on Brilla FM in a few minutes' time in the build-up to Arsenal against Liverpool. Over to you, FJ.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Welcome back. Thank you very much to FJ. Thank you very much to everyone that called in or used social media to get in touch with us. Football Live moves into the second half of the show, and this one is quite mouth-watering, isn't it? Arsenal against Liverpool. We'll be building up to that in just a minute. First of all, let's quickly reflect on the 4 games that we were covering in the first half of the show. We're going to catch up, first of all, with our reporter at the Chelsea match. Chelsea 2, Wolves 4. Another less than glamorous afternoon for Chelsea fans. Richard was watching this one, Richard Bond. And Richard, it was a disappointing afternoon, wasn't it?
Absolute disaster for Chelsea. It's full-time year. It's at Stamford Bridge. It's Wolves have beaten Chelsea by 4-2. Splendid hat-trick from Matthias Cunha, sealing a stunning win for the away side. Attack with pace and conviction, particularly in the second half. Take about a Chelsea side that fell short of both ends of the pitch. Cole Palmer did give the home side the lead midway through the first half, but it was short-lived. minutes, Cunha equalised instantly before a Riyad Nouri shot was diverted past his own keeper by Chelsea defender Axel Diassi to make it 2-1 at half-time. Midland side though raised the tempo in the second period, with Chelsea unable to cope with the pace and conviction. Pedro Neto particularly, who set up Cunha for a second before the Brazilian sealed his hat-trick from the spot after being fouled by Mario Gusto, lucky to escape a red. Thiago Silva pulled one back late for Chelsea, but be a second time 4 goals have been shipped in a week for the Blues, as boos would be deafening around Stamford Bridge at the players. The manager Maurizio Pochettino is now surely under pressure. Credit though us to go to Wolves on the day though, were brilliant and complete a first double against the home side since 1976. Finish here though, Chelsea 2, Wolves 4.
Thank you very much for that, Richard, and thank you very much for your updates throughout the afternoon. Sadly for Chelsea fans, it wasn't to be a very good afternoon. 6 goals scored at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea got 2 of them, Wolves got 4, Cunha got 3 of them, and it's Wolves that take 3 points back to the Midlands. Let's go into Italy now. Napoli still without Victor Osimhen, of course. They've not been finding wins easy to come by, but they're neither of their opponents today, Verona, and Napoli had to do it the hard way today, falling behind in the second half, but 2 late goals ensured a victory on home soil and a much needed 3 points for the Naples side. Watching this one for us was Jack Hesson.
Yeah, what a finish to the game, that final 20 minutes. It wasn't easy for Napoli, but they got there in the end after a dominant first half where they really did not dominate possession, dominate the chances. Post Lorenzo Montipo and goals for Hellas Verona into some great saves to keep the game at 0-0. Verona came into the game in the second half, and that showed in the 72nd minute when Coppola got on to the end of a Buda cross from a free kick to give Verona a shock lead. That kicked Napoli into gear. Then Lindstrom's pass across the face of goal in the 79th minute found new signing Cyril Ngonge, who's just signed from Hellas Verona in the January transfer window, for a tap-in to make it 1 each. And then on 87 minutes, Kvaratskhelia, 25 yards from goal, hits a curling effort to the top left-hand corner and give Napoli all 3 points. They have struggled without Victor Osimhen, that's for sure, but they've still got stars like Kvaratskhelia to pull them out of a dangerous hole that they're in on 72 minutes. But they managed to find a way in the end. Full time at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium. Napoli 2, Hellas Verona 1.
Thank you very much for that update, and also thank you for Jack for updates throughout the afternoon. Great reporting as always from Jack Hesson and from Richard Bond. Let's go to the other 2 games that kicked off 3 o'clock West Africa time that have both now finished. First of all, we head to Old Trafford. Molly Sumter was watching Manchester United and they easily dispatched of West Ham.
It's 5 games undefeated for the first time this season for Manchester United. Erik ten Hag's stewardship has been questioned a fair bit, but this win should be more than convincing for anyone doubting. 3 great goals from the Red Devils thanks to a brace from Garnacho and a strike from Rasmus Højlund on his 21st birthday. The win takes Manchester United up to 6th in the table and 6 points off of Spurs. As for the Hammers, an uninspiring performance for them. No goals and the winless run at Old Trafford continues. Definitely something for David Moyes to think about, and will there be more questions asked of him? As it stands though, it's finished here at Old Trafford. Manchester United 3, West Ham 0.
Down on the south coast, it was Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest. Watching this one for us was Paul James.
Well, it finishes all square here at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1. An early goal by Justin Kluivert on 5 minutes and a dazzling equaliser by Callum Hudson-Odoi. Chances falling for Taiwo Awoniyi and Ryan Yates and Lewis Cook for Bournemouth, but we finish up here as Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1, a point for each team.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you very much to Molly. Great reporting from the pair of you this afternoon on those 2 games in the Premier League. So Bournemouth down to 10 men, but holding out for a 1-1 draw against Nottingham Forest. A point for Forest is better than nothing, I suppose, away from home, but they do need to start stringing together some wins to climb away from the bottom 3. And you heard there Rasmus Højlund celebrating his 21st birthday today with a goal, and I no doubt he will be out clubbing with Marcus Rashford this evening to celebrate. Let's turn our attentions now to our featured games in the second half of the show. We've got 3 absolute crackers for you. Let's start in the Bundesliga at the Red Bull Arena. Duka Dubma is our man, watching Leipzig against Union Berlin. Good afternoon to you, Duka.
Good afternoon, Barry. Yeah, massive game in the Bundesliga, this one. Leipzig losing their last 3 games. They massively need a turnaround. They currently sit 5th the Bundesliga, but they do want to get into those Champions League places. They've made 5 changes in this game, with Golaski coming back in goal. They've got Willy Orban, their captain, back from injury, coming back in at centre-half. Xavi Simons makes his return from suspension on the right-hand side, with Kevin Campbell coming in midfield as well to make up those 5 changes. Union Berlin have hit a little bit of a run of form lately. They've only lost 1 of their last 4 after a horrific start to the season. They won 1-0 against Darmstadt in their last game, and they've made 4 changes in this game. Schwallow coming in goal for Rono. Danilo Duki comes into the side. New signing Vitesse, who was signed on deadline day from PSV, comes in for Kevin Behrens, who's departed to Wolfsburg. But it's going to be an entertaining game here at the Red Bull Arena. Kick-off moments away.
Thank you very much, Duka. Let's quickly dip down into Italy for the second time this afternoon. Our second featured game in Serie A. It's got La Liga on my piece of paper here. On Serie A is between Atalanta and Lazio at the Gewiss Stadium. It's Mark Thomas. Good afternoon to you, Mark. Hello, Mark. Can you hear us? No, we've not got Mark there at the moment. I'm sure we'll catch up with Mark in a few moments' time to catch up for team news. In fairness to Mark, he's got another half an hour for kick-off in that game, so he's probably gone off for a light refreshment or a glass of wine or something. Decent wine down in Italy, I can tell you. Anyway, let's make our attentions known in the big game this afternoon. It's the one we've all been waiting for. We've been waiting for it all weekend, haven't we? It's not quite the title decider, but it could go an awfully long way to deciding who does win the title. It's Arsenal against Liverpool. Let's cross over to the Emirates Stadium and say hello to Andrew Bonacore, who's watching this one. The 2 sets of players are out. And, it's the second meeting in, 42 days in the Premier League. 3rd meeting, told. And big game this one, Andrew. And Arsenal probably need it more than Liverpool, don't they?
Absolutely, and good afternoon again, everyone. Yeah, been looking forward to this for several days. This is definitely the top game of the weekend. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Barry. Arsenal really do need to win this game. It's almost gone kind of forgotten, the bad run of form that Arsenal had going into the Christmas break, and they've not been too bad coming out of it. They had a great victory against Crystal Palace, but that doesn't really constitute a run. And as you say, these 2 teams have faced each other several times in the last month and a half. A hard-fought draw in the Premier League at Anfield, and then Liverpool really picked off Arsenal almost at will. But you have to remember, Barry, at that game at the Emirates Stadium in the FA Cup just a few weeks ago, Arsenal started spectacularly. They were absolutely irresistible for the first 15-20 minutes, but they didn't take their chances. Liverpool, on the other hand, just took their chances and took the tie 2-0. And there was a very, very late injury time goal. So looking forward to this game. Be interesting to see how the fans at the Emirates Stadium react if things start to go against Arsenal, because there are just murmurs and whisperings at the Emirates Stadium that maybe Arteta isn't the right man, and another poor run of form such as they suffered in December could cause problems for Arteta. But yes, Arsenal definitely need to win this game, whereas Liverpool, you could say, could afford not to win the game. A draw would be a great result for them, but obviously Liverpool would be looking to get all 3 points as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Andrew. Sit tight. We'll be back with you very shortly, I'm sure, for that game in the English Premier League. They've kicked off as well in the Bundesliga, Leipzig against Union Berlin. A couple of minutes gone there. Duka Dubma is our reporter. We'll be across to him during the course of the afternoon. But it's currently Leipzig 0, Union Berlin 0. Now, we did try and catch up with Mark Thomas. He's grabbed his glass of wine and he's back with us now. Atalanta against Lazio. Kickoff is just under half an hour away. And bringing us team news It's a good afternoon for the first time this afternoon to Mark Thomas.
Good afternoon to you, Barry. The service was very slow at the refreshment stand here. That's my excuse anyway. Welcome to Bergamo, Italy. Top of the league table contest today. Very competitive match. Atalanta in fourth place, 36 points against Lazio in eighth, just behind them on 34 points. An away win for Lazio today would see them replace Atlanta in fourth, so a lot at stake. Atlanta unbeaten since December the 14th. They made one change. In comes Mario Pasalic in place of Scamaccio, drops to the bench, and Lazio make one change also from the side that drew 0-0 with Napoli. In comes Nicolo Ravella. He replaces Danilo Cataldi, the captain, who's suspended. Notable absentee is of course, the Flying Eagle. Alandama Lukman, he's not here. He's doing great things for Nigeria. Should be a great game. Should be a cracker.
Thank you very much, Mark. Yes, Ademola Lookman scoring again on Friday night to steer the Super Eagles into the semi-finals of AFCON, the semi-finals. In the meantime, let's head back to the Emirates. A big chance early on for Liverpool. Andrew Bonacore.
Massive chance for Liverpool in the very first minute, Barry. The ball lumped forward from the Liverpool defence. Lovely deft touch from Cody Gakpo and Diogo Jota running through, but his first touch of the game was just a bit too heavy and it allowed David Raya to collect the ball. So early flagging of Liverpool's intentions as early as the first minute, but at the Emirates Stadium, despite that early chance for Liverpool, it's still Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0.
Yes, thank you very much, Andrew. Watching that one on the television here where it says 3 minutes 36 played, but on the big scoreboard in the background on the same screen it says 3 minutes 26. The two times are 10 seconds out. I wonder which one is right and which one is wrong. Arsenal are on the attack at the moment and putting a little bit of pressure on Liverpool after Liverpool created the first chance of the game. You can't help but feel there will be goals in this game. It's an intriguing one. I can't take my eyes off it, so much so I'll probably miss a goal somewhere else. Wolfsburg 2, Hoffenheim 2 is a result in the Bundesliga. Sounded like a good game, that one. Sparta Rotterdam 0, PEC Zwolle 1 in the Eredivisie, and AEK Athens have won again. 3-1 victors against Asteris Tripolis, and guess who? Yes, that man Julian Bartolo again on the score sheet, as well as Irvin Zukanovic scoring in that game. A good win, and Ezequiel Ponce as well. He scored a couple last week, didn't he? So they managing to squeeze all 3 points in the game this afternoon in Greece. Athens winning again. Right, okay. We can kind of take a breather for a second. We've got the game in Italy coming up, Atalanta against Lazio, but we've kicked off in Germany, Leipzig against Union Berlin, and Arsenal against Liverpool as well. On top of that, we will try and keep a very close eye on the goals as they go in elsewhere, and that includes the Asian Cup of Asian Cup, the AFC Asian Cup, that's taking place this afternoon, one of the quarterfinals. I'll bring you bang up to date with that in just a moment or two. So let's go back to Andrew Bonacore, and after that early Liverpool chance, Andrew, Arsenal are putting the pressure on.
Absolutely. I wouldn't quite say it's been all Arsenal since then. We're of course only talking about the first 5 minutes, but a couple of forays into the Liverpool penalty box from Bukayo Saka, and he had just a sight of goal, but Van Dijk closed him down just on the corner of the 6-yard box, and the ball going out for a corner. So again, Arsenal looking to pile the pressure on Liverpool as they did in that FA Cup game. They don't seem too troubled by the early chance that Liverpool had, but if Diogo Jota had converted that, could have been a very interesting response from the Gunners. But so far, in the first 5.5 minutes of this game, Arsenal slowly taking control, but it's still Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Of course, we'll be straight across to Andrew regularly throughout the rest of the show here on Football Live, exclusive to Bria FM. Concentrating on Liverpool, their CEO, that's their Chief Executive Officer, the man that makes all the decisions, Billy Hogan, this week spoke to the media, and he spoke to us here on Football Live as well, talking about the new manager situation and the process involved in bringing in a replacement for Jurgen Klopp.
As we have done in the past, the same process that brought us Jurgen almost 9 years ago, and that's something that we will do in private, that will be done with, as Jurgen said, the people that are here, our ownership, Mike Gordon in particular, will be a part of that process. And when we get to a place where we have further news on that, then we can discuss it at that point, but it's not going to be something that's going to be a running commentary. We won't talk about other people, and we won't get into the name game. This is really an announcement that Jurgen and we are making, and after today we are focused on the campaign ahead and the opportunity that we have, and competing on four fronts, and making the 23-24 campaign something that supporters can look back on with enjoyment.
Interesting that from the CEO of Liverpool Football Club, Billy Hogan, how they will be looking to go about replacing Jurgen Klopp. They've got time on their side. There's still a long way to go in the season. Still 0-0, 8 minutes gone. Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0, and we'll keep right across that one throughout the afternoon here on Football Live. Earlier on today, Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1, the lowest scoring Premier League game of the weekend so far. Chelsea 2, Wolves 4, another woeful afternoon for Chelsea, who've conceded 8 goals in their last 2 league games. Manchester United 3, West Ham United 0. 2 wins out of 2 for Erik ten Hag and his side, who seem to be clicking into form, and a goal on his 21st birthday for Rasmus Højlund, and a good win that for Manchester United. Still Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0, of course, and our featured game in Italy earlier on finished Napoli 0, Verona 0. So we're bang up to date with everything. Let's dip into the Bundesliga, shall we? Leipzig, as we alluded to, or as our reporter Duka Dobma alluded to earlier on, Leipzig have lost their last 3. That really isn't the sort of form that's going to carry them back into the Champions League. It's Leipzig against Union Berlin, who of course themselves were in the Champions League this season, but this time around in the Bundesliga they're battling to stay up. It's currently 0-0. Let's catch up for an insight into the opening 9 or 10 minutes with Duka Dobma.
Yeah, it's been a fairly lively start from Leipzig, if I'm honest. They looked a better team. They had a half chance earlier from a free kick that Dani Olmo had, but instead he decided to smack it straight into the Union Berlin's defender's head, and there was a head injury that caused a few minutes of stoppage. But apart from that, there's nothing really to scream home about in these opening 10 minutes for either side. Union Berlin very, very compact at the back, not really giving Leipzig a sniff in front of goal, despite the amount of ball possession they're having. But 10 minutes gone here at the Red Bull Arena, still 0-0.
Thank you very much, Durka. Of course, Friday night we saw Nigeria beating Angola by 1-0. Ademola Lookman with the all-important goal to carry the Super Eagles through to the semi-final of AFCON. Playing a part in that goal was Moses Simon, and he spoke after the game to Brila FM.
Actually, what's going through my mind is either I pass the ball to Victor or Ademola or I score. But at the moment, we don't need to be selfish. We just need to feed them and they score. And I'm really happy he utilized the chances. But the important thing I can say is we just want to win. We don't care who score, who don't score.
Well, it's interesting that, because it's Ademola Lookman seems to be chipping in with the goals at the moment, but he's absolutely right. It doesn't matter who scores those goals as long as they get more than the opposition. And the big factor is, whilst they're not scoring many goals, the Super Eagles, they're not conceding any. And that is a big plus going into this week's massive semi-final against South Africa. Really looking forward to that one. And, well, should be an absolute cracker. Let's get across to the Emirates. Liverpool struggling to get going after that early start. Arsenal are the better side at the moment under Brunner. They've just created a really good chance.
Yeah, they're certainly on top, and it's an interesting pattern developing to this game. Liverpool are trying to break, as much as they can, but they've been quite restricted to pinging the ball over the top, and I think that's going to be Liverpool's approach to try and peg Arsenal back, because we've had 50% of the game played in Liverpool's defensive third of the half. So in terms of pressure, it's been Arsenal very much on top. But of course, Liverpool had that early chance for Diogo Jota. But yes, Arsenal breaking into the box, and Saka came in from the right with a diving header, but couldn't quite get on the end of it. But it's it really is. It's so similar to that FA Cup game, Barry. It's Arsenal who have got all the pressure, all the possession, and are kind of creating the chances, but just unable to take them. And so far, 10 minutes in, it's still Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0.
Thank you very much for that, Andrew. So 2 games kicking off at half past the hour. We're just coming up to, 12, 13 minutes gone. No goals, as we just heard, from the game between Arsenal and Liverpool. But in Germany...
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
We have an early breakthrough. Leipzig lost their last 3. Union Berlin battling for every point they can get their hands on in their quest to stay in the Bundesliga this season. Let's get across, shall we, to the Red Bull Arena. Duka Dubma, which way's the goal gone?
It's RB Leipzig who have taken the lead here at the Red Bull Arena, and it's massively deserved. It's a deep free kick put in by Xavi Simons. And it's Willy Orban who wins the header at the back post. He headers it across. Benjamin Hendricks slashes at it. It gets blocked. It falls so kindly to Luis Openda, the top goal scorer for RB Leipzig this season, who puts it away brilliantly. And just over 12 minutes gone here at the Red Bull Arena. It's RB Leipzig 1, Union Berlin 0.
Thank you very much, Duka. So a goal after 11 minutes from the Belgian international striker Luis Openda gives the home side RB Leipzig the lead at the stadium called the Red Bull Arena. We've got a goal in that game, and there's big goal news at the Emirates.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And I can tell you the goal has been scored by Arsenal. They lead Liverpool by 1-0. How massive is this goal going to be? It's a ball down the middle, and the save was made by the goalkeeper off of Havertz, and there to rebound home with the second chance. It's a ball that falls to Saka, who crashes it into the net, and it's Liverpool that are behind. It's Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0, and that is a massive goal at the Emirates Stadium. We're across to Andrew Buonocore in just a second to hear about that goal from the Emirates. So Arsenal leading Liverpool by 1-0. So a goal in our game in Germany, a goal in our game in London as well. Let's get across to Andrew Buonocore. He can tell us all about that opening goal. A big goal for Arsenal.
It's 1-0 to the Arsenal. Bukayo Saka slides in. Finally, it's able to convert a chance. And really, Arsenal had the ball at the back. Liverpool putting them under pressure. They managed to just pass it around, and they played the ball into the centre. Lovely touch from Martin Odegaard. First time, played Kai Havertz clean through. To be fair, Havertz should have converted the chance himself, but his shot was well saved by Alisson. But the ball fell to Saka. This time, Van Dijk couldn't get there ahead of him, and the England and Arsenal man was there to slot the ball home and put the Gunners 1 up. It's Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0.
You are listening to Football Live.
Super Eagles, let's go! NairaBet has a treat for you. Place a bet on any AFCON semi-final and get a 1,000 Naira free bet to use in play on the final. Whether you back Nigeria or any of the remaining teams, even if your bet does not win, you will still be eligible for the free bet. All you need to do is log in to www.nairabet.com, bet on an AFCON semi-final, receive your free bet to use in play at the final on February the 11th. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match markets or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18. Minimum odds of 1.5. Must be a real money bet. Cashed out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Football Live. Football's never sounded so good on Brilla FM every Saturday and Sunday.
Football Live will be paying very close attention to the Premier League title race on next Saturday's show. Every point counts as the Premier League title reaches the crucial part of the season. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City are in action. They're at home against Everton at the Etihad. Anfield is usually a fortress for Liverpool, so they will be expected to pick up 3 points. They're at home to struggling Burnley. Tottenham Hotspur have their eyes on the top 4, but will they be able to get the better of Brighton and Hove Albion when the two sides meet in North London? Wolves against Brentford, Bournemouth go to Fulham. It's going to be a busy Saturday afternoon with the AFCON final and the AFC Asian Cup final also on the agenda. It promises to be quite an afternoon of first-class football action next Saturday. And you can follow every kick, every card, every VAR controversy right here on Football Live. Oh, and we promise to throw in a few goals too.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Where there's football, there are goals, and all our matches this afternoon have produced goals. We're only 18 minutes into the two games that have just kicked off, and already both the home sides, Leipzig and Arsenal, have found the back of the net to lead in those games. Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0, RB Leipzig 1, Union Berlin 0. Big goal that from Bukayo Saka of Arsenal to give them the lead against the league leaders Liverpool. Massive game tomorrow as well. Manchester City, their chance to certainly to make ground on one of these two. They are at home against, in fact they're away against Brentford. They're at home to Brentford in a couple of weeks' time. Brentford have got to play Manchester City twice in 2 weeks. And of course they do have Ivan Toney, who has scored 2 in 2 since his return from a ban. Let's turn our attentions now to Spain. Another win this weekend for Real Madrid would put them top in La Liga. Let's hear from their go-to man this season, Jude Bellingham, who spoke this week to us about settling in Spain.
You always know that Real Madrid's the biggest club in the world, but then it's just different when you actually get to experience it, especially at the Bernabeu with the new kind of setup and how it looks and everything. It's just unbelievable. It's like playing at like the Colosseum, you feel like a proper gladiator. You know, it's just so cool. And yeah, you just don't understand how big the club is. There's not really anywhere you can go where people don't recognise you. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. But also the flip side, when you come into training every day, the players are always quite calm. The coach is really calm, and it's a good environment to work in and to just express yourself and be creative with your football.
Well, Girona were held by a Real Sociedad 0-0 at home last night and missed the chance to go top. Real are top. They could be 4 points clear tonight with a derby win at the Bernabeu against Atletico Madrid. Barca won yesterday, 3-1 winners at Alaves. Vitor Roque scoring the third for Barca and then being red-carded. Valencia beat 10-man Almeria 2-1. Granada and Las Palmas ended 10 aside and 1-1. Let's go to Germany, shall we, and catch up with Duka Dubma. Massive chance for Leipzig to make it 2-0, Duka.
Yeah, and it's that man, Luis Openda again. He should have made it 2-0. Dani Olmo had the ball in the edge of the area and just slotted it through to Luis Openda. And Schwallow, the goalkeeper, makes a fantastic save to tip it round the post. The linesman did put his flag up for it in the end, but I think it would have gone to VAR because from my angle, it looked massively onside there. But still, 19 minutes gone. RB Leipzig 1, Berlin 0.
Thank you very much, Durka. Besiktas have beaten Trabzonspor in Turkey by a goal to 0. That's a result coming in. Ex-Chelsea man Michy Batshuayi scored for Fenerbahce, who won in the Turkish Super League last night against Antalyaspor. That means that they are top on goal difference ahead of Galatasaray, who won on Friday. In Portugal, Sporting's game at Fama Lichao was postponed. There was fighting outside the stadium amongst the fans, and it couldn't be contained because the police had a policing shortage because of a strike. So they decided they would call the game off. Don't think I've ever heard that excuse before for calling a game off, but that was the case in Portugal last night. Let's head back down to North London and the Emirates Stadium. Andrew Bonacore, Liverpool trying to slow the game down, but Arsenal had a massive chance to make it 2-0.
Absolutely. This is high energy from Arsenal. They've started the game so well, and Liverpool are really, really struggling to contain them. They spent 2 or 3 minutes playing the ball across the Liverpool defence to just try and slow Arsenal down. Arsenal are so high energy, especially compared to Liverpool. Liverpool are struggling to stay in the game. But in playing the ball across, Arsenal managed to close them down. The ball was played into Martin Odegaard just on the edge of the D, and his shot was blocked. So no goal for them, but another chance for Arsenal. And you've got to say, Arsenal are playing so well. If they could only be a bit more clinical, they would really be destroying teams at the moment. I know they had a great performance against Crystal Palace, but when you create chances like Arsenal are creating against the likes of Liverpool, right at the top of the Premier League, you absolutely have to take them. And talking of not taking chances, if it wasn't for Bukayo Saka putting away the rebound, we'd all be talking about a bad miss from Kai Havertz. He really should have scored when he was put through one-on-one with that lovely flick from Martin Odegaard. But thankfully for him, Bukayo Saka was there to tidy up. So it's certainly still Liverpool on top. Arsenal on top, but Liverpool are just struggling to work out how they can contain this Arsenal attack, because Arsenal are coming from everywhere and putting Liverpool under pressure all over the pitch. It's still Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0.
One-way traffic at the moment. Last time we heard it in our game in Germany, it was pretty much the same over there as well, with the home side RB Leipzig leading by a goal to nil, coming close to making it 2-0. But at the other end, Düsseldorf, Union Berlin have created a really good chance.
Yeah, Union Berlin have really grown back into the game, I must say. And it was Benedict Hollerbach on the left-hand side. He tries to put a cross in, it gets deflected. And Golaski couldn't really see where it was going. It was dipping, it was moving, and in the end he had to tip it over the bar, and nothing came of it in the end. Still, RB Leipzig 1, Union Berlin 0.
Excellent, thank you very much for that, Duka. Well, yesterday in the Premier League, plenty of goals. There were plenty of goals down on the south coast, where Brighton and Hove Albion saw off Crystal Palace in the notorious M23 derby. It's the most unlocal derby that you can possibly get. There's around about 60 miles between the two clubs, but they don't like each other very much. They got together yesterday, both licking wounds somewhat. Palace got absolutely annihilated in their last away game, 5-0 at Arsenal, whilst Brighton are still licking their wounds from a 4-0 loss at Luton in midweek. There was a response from Brighton, and that certainly pleased Roberto De Zerbi, whose side ended up beating Palace by 4-1 yesterday afternoon, as you heard right here on Football Live.
We suffered a lot after the Luton game, and we show our quality, human qualities. Yes, but I knew before the game in Luton, the next game will be like today. I know very well my players. I know the human qualities they have, and I'm proud when we lose, when we win, because I believe in them. I have a big respect of the people, and then as a players.
Yeah, so there you have it. The Brighton and Hove Albion manager, Roberto De Zerbi. Good win that for them yesterday, 4-1 against Crystal Palace. More pressure on Roy Hodgson, and more conflict between players and fans as well after the game. A couple of the Palace players seen in confrontation with the fans behind the goal, travelling all the way down there to see their side lose comprehensively by 4-1. Let's get back to the Emirates Stadium. Andrew Bonacore, Liverpool have just seen one of their players receive a yellow card.
Yeah, and the manner of it, Barry, is really indicative of the struggles that Liverpool are having containing Arsenal. Arsenal can play the ball around their defensive area, play the ball back to David Raya, and within two passes, they're running through the Liverpool defence. Joe Gomez having to pull back Kai Havertz, because otherwise Kai Havertz was away. There was a covering defender, so no question of a red. But early on, halfway through the first half, one of the Liverpool defenders already on a yellow card, and things are a little bit rocky at the back for the visitors. 26 minutes in, and it's Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0.
Thank you very much, Andrew. In Belgian, CAS Open been reduced to 10 men. Good time to be reduced to 10 men. He's around about the 7th minute of injury time, and that's exactly what has happened there. The 24-year-old midfielder, Jérôme Diom, sent off moments later. The final whistle blew. Didn't really matter, but they lost Open, despite being down to 10 men for a few moments. They lost 1-0 at home to Mechelen this afternoon in the Belgium Pro League. So Liverpool trailing at Arsenal. Leipzig ahead against Union Berlin. Earlier today, Bournemouth won, Nottingham Forest won. The game with the least amount of goals in the Premier League this weekend so far. Now, there was a red card. Bournemouth reduced to 10 men. Chelsea 2, Wolves 4. More woe for Mauricio Pochettino. We will try and grab hold of an interview from him after that game in due course in the next hour of the show or so. Manchester United 3, West Ham 0. Another convincing performance from Manchester United, who are getting those players back from injury. But that said, Erik ten Hag has just been quoted in the media on the Lisandro Martinez injury. It seems bad. We have to wait and make the right diagnosis. In this moment, we are very sad. Hopefully, it's not too bad. We can only pray. It looks like he has to sit some games out injured again. That doesn't look particularly good. That sounds to me like another long-term injury. He had a foot injury. He was out for 4 months. He came off in the Wolves game the other night, and they took his sock off and strapped a load of ice to it. I'm surprised that he's playing today, and I think he's aggravated the same injury. If he's out for 4 months last time, who's to say he might be out for the rest of the season? That would be a blow to Manchester United and to Erik ten Hag, Lisandro Martinez. We'll watch that one with very, very interested eyes, I am sure. Let's get back to the Emirates, where Liverpool have suddenly rolled their sleeves up, Andrew, and are putting a little bit of pressure on.
Yeah, absolutely. They finally realised that they can't sit back, keep the ball and try and slow Arsenal down. They've realised, I think, that the best form of defence is attack. So they've been whipping the ball into the Arsenal box a couple of times. Trent Alexander-Arnold just crossing the ball in for the first time in the whole game so far. We're almost 30 minutes in, and that's Trent's first cross, but he's got an opportunity to swing in the corner. But finally, I think Liverpool have woken up. They thought they could slow Arsenal down by just trying to keep possession, but this high-energy Arsenal press is just not giving Liverpool any time at all. So Liverpool deciding to try and go toe-to-toe with the home team and try and create some chances of their own. So half an hour in almost, and it's still Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0.
Let's get across to the Bundesliga. RB Leipzig against Union Berlin. Leipzig still ahead by a goal to nil. Durka Dubba, are they still looking good value for that lead?
Yeah, I'd still say RB Leipzig have really had the most of possession here, and they've just made Union Berlin chase shadows the whole game, really. Despite that one little chance that Union Berlin had, it's all been one-way traffic here. But it's 28 minutes gone. Red Bull Leipzig 1, Union Berlin 0.
Thank you very much, Durka. Our game that we're featuring in Serie A in Italy, Atalanta against Lazio, will be kicking off in just a few moments' time. Atalanta, of course, without Ademola Lookman, the Super Eagles goal-scoring hero from both the quarter-final and the round of 16. He is single-handedly firing the goals to put the Super Eagles into the semi-final of the AFCON, where they will play South Africa on Wednesday. Of course, build up to that throughout the next 72 hours right here on Brilla FM. You're listening to Football Live, myself, Barry Swain, this afternoon. We've got some great games in the Premier League. Chelsea losing at home, Manchester United winning at home, Bournemouth down to 10 men drawing at home, Napoli coming from behind to win as well against Verona. It's currently Liverpool 1. Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0 and Leipzig 1, Berlin 0. They've just kicked off. Atalanta 0, Lazio 0. Will be around the grounds in those 3 games in due course. Quick reminder, we are again back next week. Full complement of Premier League action coming your way on Football Live on both Saturday and Sunday afternoon. Let's get across to the Emirates for another update with Andrew Bonacore. Just seeing a yellow card being dished out to Ben White of Arsenal as I hand over to you, Andrew. But last time we were with you, Liverpool were starting to get themselves back into the game. Still the case?
Yeah, but slowly, Barry. They certainly don't have the energy and the fizz that Arsenal have got at the moment. But I'm assuming that this is a ploy. I'm surprised by how kind of long ball Liverpool have gone. There's not much attempt to play through Arsenal. But just going back to that yellow card for Ben White, I think there was a little bit of back chat to the referee. He thought he was fouled, and probably for the next 30-45 seconds was still chatting in the referee's ear, and was eventually given that yellow card. But certainly in terms of kind of attractive attacking play, it's all Arsenal, and Liverpool, as I say, having a few forays forward, but really reduced to fairly long balls as an attempt to try and peg Arsenal back. So, yes, I think this is an indication, Barry, of Arsenal having learnt their lesson from that FA Cup game. They had so much possession, so many chances, but didn't take them early on in that game. This is a complete turnaround. Arsenal have been much, much better in this game, and it's still Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0.
And a break in play at the moment as the referee gets his what's it called, the pack with the microphone and the headpiece. Something's gone wrong there to the fourth official, who can't be classed as a technical expert, but they always step out, don't they, fourth officials, and act as the first line of support when something goes wrong, and he's managed to fix it there. So we are back in action, and Anthony Taylor's headset seems to be working loud and clear once again, largely thanks to the fourth official, Craig Pawson. VAR today, by the way, David Coote and Tim Wood. Let's hope they are kept quiet in the duration of the game. 33 minutes gone, Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0. Let's get across to our other games taking place in Europe that we're covering this afternoon. First of all, to Germany. Union Berlin with another chance. They're behind at Leipzig, but they're trying to get back into this game, aren't they, Berlin?
Yeah, they had a very quick counter-attack just now, and Robin Gosens had the ball on the left-hand side and put in a delicious cross. But Jorg Vertessen, the new signing for Union Berlin, could only get sort of a glancing header onto it and it goes straight into the arms of Golaski. And you just think if he gets a bit more power in that and sticks it either side of the goalkeeper, we could be having a level game here at Red Bull Arena. But at the moment, 32 minutes played, still 1-0 to Leipzig.
Thank you very much, Durka. Okay, right. So Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0, as we've just heard as well. But let's get across for the first time since the game kicked off between Atalanta and Lazio. Mark Thomas is watching this one. An early chance for the visitors, Lazio.
Yes, indeed. It's been a lively start 3 minutes into the game here, Barry. Filippo was slipped in by the ex-Arsenal player Guendouzi. A lovely pass. Goalkeeper Karnasacchi came out, smothered the ball, but it was a half chance. Went right down the other side. Pasalic had a shot in the box, which was deflected over, and that went out for a corner. But it was a very, very lively encounter. Both teams, you can tell already the intent. Both teams want these 3 points. It's after touch under 4 minutes. It's Atalanta 0, Lazio 0.
In Spain, it's Osasuna 0, Celta Vigo 3. A 90th minute third from Tassos Duvacas has given Celta Vigo surely 3 points away from home. It's a big 3 points as well, because Celta Vigo are right down in the mix at the bottom in the relegation pack. Their opponents today, Osasuna, nicely placed in mid-table, some 11 points ahead of Celta Vigo. Good win for them, Celta Vigo, away from home this afternoon, and they're still playing there 3-0. It would take one of football's minor miracles for that one to turn around. So we've heard from Italy, we've heard from Germany, and we've heard from London, and Arsenal and Leipzig, as we've heard, are already ahead in this afternoon's game. Still 0-0 in the early stages. Atalanta against Lazio. Right, so one player that made his debut this weekend in the Premier League was Adam Wharton, signing for Crystal Palace. Big signing for them from Championship side Blackburn Rovers. He spoke this week ahead of his debut, a 4-1 defeat at Brighton.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. I've always wanted to play in the Premier League, and to play for such a big club like Crystal Palace, it's a great honour. Yeah, I'm delighted to be here, and I can't wait to start. I'm sure it'll be fun. There's a lot going on, but football's most important, so I'll try to deal with that first. Nearly every kid who plays football dreams of. It's the best league in the world. Really looking forward to it, and I can't wait.
Yeah, so that was Adam Wharton. He couldn't wait to get going, but I'd imagine that was a baptism of fire yesterday with that 4-1 defeat for Crystal Palace away at Brighton and Hove Albion. Not the start that he would have wanted, Adam Wharton, but he's a very good player. Been impressed with what I've seen of him in the Championship. I'm sure he will make Crystal Palace a stronger side in the coming weeks and months, and my goodness me, they do need strengthening at the moment. Another heavy away defeat for them yesterday, and you look at that Premier league table, and it is one of concern for Crystal Palace. They are currently in 14th, which sounds okay because 18th, 19th and 20th sounds a long way away. Palace are just 5 points ahead of Everton, but bear in mind, if Everton were to win their appeal, then Luton would be dragged back into the bottom three, and there would only be 4 points between Crystal Palace and Luton have got a game in hand on Crystal Palace. So, you look at it and you think, well, do you know what? Crystal Palace are not safe. You look at that league table and you could go all the way up to 12th Bournemouth, maybe even 11th Chelsea. Although they've got 31 points, they're probably going to be okay. Bournemouth, Fulham, Palace, Brentford and Forest all looking over their shoulders. Luton, Everton, Burnley and Sheffield United the bottom four. Everton, Burnley and Sheffield United currently occupying the 3 places that go down in the Premier League. Let's get ourselves straight across to North London once again at the Emirates Stadium. It's Arsenal against Liverpool. We've already heard that Bukayo Saka has scored the only goal of the game. It's been a little bit of a topsy-turvy first half. Andrew, since we were last with you, who's been the dominant force?
Yeah, I'd still say it's Arsenal, but we just had a bit of action, Barry, that really kind of highlights what Arsenal are lacking. Martinelli has been really tormenting Liverpool down Liverpool's right. Trent, as we know, likes to move forward, and there's quite a bit of space behind him. So Martinelli has found a lot of space, had a lot of luck, put the ball in to the centre, but there was just Odegaard on the edge of the box and Saka on the right-hand side of the box. And it just shows, Barry, I think Arsenal really need an actual striker. They've got Havertz playing through the middle, but you could never call him a striker. And the way that he shot the opportunity straight at Alisson that led to the Arsenal goal was really down to Bukayo Saka being on hand at close range to put the ball away. But if Arsenal had, a decent target man, someone like Osimhen, but I don't think they would have the money to bring him to the Emirates Stadium. But someone of that ilk, they would really be dangerous, and they'd certainly be closer to the top of the Premier League than they are. I know they're sitting in third place, but there are a few points off, and they're just not really dominating teams. They create so many chances, Barry, but they need someone who's really capable and able to put those chances away. They've just had another chance coming in from Martinelli on the left. They really do need someone who would act as their focal point, someone a bit like Nunez is developing into for Liverpool, but Arsenal are really sadly lacking that central figure up front. But having said that, it's the Gunners with 10 minutes to go before half-time who are still 1-0 up.
Thank you very much, Pat. Pat, why? Not Pat. Just messaging my producer here, Pat. Andrew, while you're on, you spoke there about Osimhen. You're absolutely right. But I've had this conversation many a times in recent weeks and months. You look at the world of football, and there's just not that many world-class centre forwards. They're almost becoming an extinct breed, aren't they? There's very, very few of them. You've got your Victor Osimhen's out there, and your likes of Ivan Toney that's in the market, and your Haalands at Manchester City, but your Harry Kanes. But there's not that many, are there? You're looking for a bargain buy from a South American club or from somewhere unknown, lower leagues, that you can just pick up for a cheap price, and they go and hit the ground running and do an unbelievable job, because there's so much money banded around, because they are a rare breed, aren't they?
They are a very rare breed, and even more rare are strikers of that ilk, of that quality, with that skill set, who are available for less than 100 million euros. Bayern Munich had to pay 100 million for Harry Kane, and he was probably the best and most available of those players at the time. I think in South America they tend not to breed out and out strikers in the way that we certainly used to in England, at least. So you're having to, as you say, you're relying on your scouting networks to pick these players up. But the likes of Ivan Toney, he's available. But I think so many clubs at the moment, Barry, are really shackled by their fears of financial fair play regulations. They're terrified of spending substantial money on a player and going beyond what they're allowed to spend. I'm absolutely sure that Victor Osimhen would have moved in January. I'm sure he will move at the end of the season. But I would have expected, if Chelsea were financially able, they would have picked up Osimhen
in January to try and save their season, and just look at what's happened to them in the last couple of games. As you say, this type of player is very rare. But if Arsenal could find one, even across Northern Europe, look at the Scandinavian countries like Norway, where Haaland is from. If they could pick up a young, strong player who's able to fill that role up front, they would be almost unstoppable. They certainly would be causing the Premier League teams at the top more concerned than they are at the moment. Because I get the feeling, Barry, that Liverpool are quite happy to let Arsenal have chances, knowing that they'll score 1 in 5, 1 in 6.
Absolutely, you're quite right. Now listen, we're going to move on now, because we're going to go to Italy, where there's been 2 yellow cards in our featured game early on between Atalanta and Lazio. To tell us all about that, here is Mark Thomas.
Yes, it's a very lively, balanced encounter here. Pasalic is finding some great positions in the number 10 role, but he just came back to make a defensive tackle, and he took out Ravel. So he got a yellow card for that. And the manager, Gasperini, protesteth too much, I think. And he got a yellow card for his efforts as well. As I said, very finely balanced encounter. Both teams look very lively, Barry. And we're looking, should have a bucket full of goals if this keeps going. After about 13 minutes, it is Atalanta 0, Lazio 0.
Atalanta 0, Lazio 0, Leipzig 1, Berlin 0. That's Union Berlin, and not Hertha Berlin, who were relegated last season, of course. And Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0. Bukayo Saka with the goal. Don't forget, we will be switching our attentions back to the Brilla FM studios. FJ and his team are waiting for us to hand back in just over 10 minutes time. So that's your opportunity. Call in or get involved on social media. We'd love to hear from you. Who's going to win the title? Who's going to win the title showdown this afternoon? Arsenal been very much the better side, as you've heard from Andrew Bonacore at the Emirates this afternoon. They're leading by 1-0, and they are attacking as we speak at the moment against Liverpool. Liverpool trailing by 1-0. Of course, Arsenal need this more than Liverpool to stay right in that title race. So, 10 minutes time, we'll be handing back to FJ. Now's your time to start getting in those calls and contacting us on social media. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the AFCON? The big game coming up this week. It's Nigeria against South Africa. Who's going to win through? Who's going to win the final? Who will be playing who in the final? We'd love to hear from you. And another defeat for Chelsea. They've conceded 4 goals this afternoon. Matheus Cunha with a hat-trick as Wolves won 4-2 at Chelsea, their first win at Stamford Bridge since 1979, and it's another big defeat for Chelsea. 4 goals they shipped at Anfield in midweek, 4 goals they've conceded today, and now there is a little bit of pressure on Mauricio Pochettino. We will try and hear from him in the final hour of the show if we possibly can. Jurgen Klopp is currently having a full-on argument with the 4th official down at the Emirates. He's not happy with one decision or another as Liverpool try and get themselves back into that game. In the Bundesliga. In fact, before we go to the Bundesliga, let's bring you a goal in one of our 3 featured games.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And I can tell you, it's gone to Atalanta, who lead Lazio by 1-0 at the Gewiss Stadium. They've got themselves ahead through Mario Pasalic after 16 minutes. Atalanta 1, Lazio 0. We'll be across to hear about that goal from Mark Thomas in just a second. Let's head to Germany, the Bundesliga. Leipzig are winning at home by 1-0. Dukaduma, it could have been 2.
It could have been, it really could have been. It's Xavi Simons again. He's been the man that's sort of been making everything tick in this game and doing all the work for Leipzig. And he was in the box and he had a defender around him and swiveled brilliantly and got his shot away, but Schwaller was equal to it. But you know, if anything's going to come in this game, a goal or an assist, you think Xavi Simons will definitely be involved somewhere or another. But still at the Red Bull Arena, closing in at half-time now. Red Bull Leipzig 1, Union Berlin 0.
Thank you very much, Durka. Normal service yesterday. Leaders Bayern Leverkusen and Bayern Munich both winning. Harry Kane on target again. Leverkusen stay 2 points clear of Bayern at the top thanks to a double from the former Southampton man, Nathan Tella. You couldn't get a regular game for Southampton when they were struggling down at the foot of the Premier League, but now he's helping Leverkusen to potentially the Bundesliga title. They won away at Darmstadt yesterday. Bayern keep tabs with them with a 3-1 home win over Gladbach. Stuttgart third after winning at Freiburg. Another goal for Dennis Undav in that game at the Europa Park. Let's get across and hear about that goal that has just been scored in our feature game in Italy. Atalanta against Lazio. Here's Mark Thomas.
Yes, it's that man I was telling you about, taking up good positions, Mario Pasalic. What happened was a wonderful bit of interplay down the left-hand side from Kolasinac, the ex-Arsenal fullback. Of course, Scavellini had a header on the back post, dumped it into the centre, and the shot came in from Pasalic. A classic Gasperoni-type goal that Atalanta have been scoring all season long. It's a lively, feisty game. It's a little bit zesty. There's some full-blooded tackles going in here. We've got a real battle on our hands. But after about 15 minutes, it is Atalanta 1, Lazio 0.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And I can tell you there's been a goal in our game that we are featuring in the Premier League. It's now Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1, and Arsenal fans might want to just cover their eyes and look the other way because it's a horrible goal to give away. It's an own goal. Luis Diaz seemed to put the ball past the goalkeeper. It hit the defender and trickled over the line. It's the scrappiest of goals. But Liverpool have been under the cosh in the first half, have scored in first half stoppage time. It's Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1. At the Emirates Stadium. What a great time to score. Liverpool back level in that game. I was just about to tell you we've got 3 games going on and all 3 games are being won by the home side by a 1-0. And it's struck Saliba and gone in. But really, he's trying to hold off. Saliba's trying to hold off Luis Diaz, who's got the better of him. It strikes the arm of Gabriel. It's going nowhere near the goal. It's going away from the goal. It hits Gabriel on the arm as he twists around to try and block it, and it goes over the line. It's Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1, and a big, big goal for Liverpool, and they are level thanks to an own goal by Gabriel. We'll be across to hear about that from Andrew Bonacore in just a second or two. But what a big goal that is. Remember, we're going back to the Brilla FM studios in just over 5 minutes' time. FJ is there. He's waiting for us, and he will be taking your calls. What's your thoughts on that Liverpool equaliser? A body blow to Arsenal. Let's get across and hear about that goal. Andrew Bonacore.
Oh, it's absolutely brutal for Arsenal. As you say, the ball was going nowhere. Luis Diaz gets on the end of a long ball forward. Didn't really have the ball under control, but managed to just hold off Saliba. And it wasn't even a shot. It looked like he was trying to hook the ball back, and Gabriel Magalhaes was just unable to keep the ball away. His momentum was bringing him towards the goal. It came off his arm and just trickled over the line. Absolutely torture for Arsenal fans. The Emirates has been rocking, but Arsenal have been rocked by that late equaliser just before half-time. The half-time whistle is now gone, and at the Emirates at half-time, it's surprisingly, shockingly, Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1.
Excellent. Thank you very much for those first half updates. Andrew Bonacore, will leave him to take a break for a moment because the half-time whistle has gone there. It's Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1. The half-time whistle has also sounded in our featured game in the Bundesliga. RB Leipzig have lost their last 3. Union Berlin need every point they can get their hands on down at the foot of the table. Leipzig leading at half-time, and to bring us bang up to date with the first half action, here's Duka Dubma.
Well, I'll tell you what, this first half has all been Red Bull Leipzig. They came out of the blocks flying, scoring a goal early on after 12 minutes through Luis Openda. And throughout this first half, they've just had multiple chances to double their lead, and they've not really capitalised on it, especially towards the end of that first half. Benjamin Sesko has had 2 fantastic headed chances. One that Schwallow got a brilliant acrobatic save to. But as it stands at the Red Bull Arena at half-time, it's RB Leipzig 1, Union Berlin 0.
Thank you very much, Duka. Half-time in that game as well. We've only just kicked off. About 20 minutes gone at Atalanta against Lazio at the Gewiss Stadium. Let's go across and catch up with Mark Thomas. Atalanta, good value for their lead, Mark?
Yes, they are, Barry. They're controlling the ball in midfield. They're knocking it about nicely. Lazio is struggling to get a hold of it, and every time they pump it out of defence, it's sort of half-hearted up into the Atlanta half. Atlanta look comfortable. They're looking for that second goal. And as I said to you, it's full-blooded here. We've got some tasty challenges going in. And Jamitsi in the centre of defence for Atlanta has just had a foul, which I think he just got away with. But after 22 minutes, Barry, is still Atalanta 1, Lazio 0.
So Lazio behind at Atalanta after, 22 minutes. In the Bundesliga, we just heard Leipzig behind to Union Berlin at half-time by Golden. It's half-time Arsenal against Liverpool. Let's catch up for a half-time report, shall we? And let's get across to the Emirates. It's Andrew Bonacore.
Yes, Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1. Liverpool should have been a goal up in as early as the first minute, but Diogo Jota was unable to take the chance. And after that, it was all Arsenal chances for Saka, Havertz, Martinelli and Odegaard before a beautiful touch from the Gunners captain put Havertz clean through. His shot was saved, but Bukayo Saka was on hand to take a touch and put the ball away for 1-0 to the Arsenal. Liverpool tried to slow down the rate of Arsenal's attacks, but Odegaard had a great chance to put Arsenal further ahead, while Liverpool laboured going forward until they were handed a lifeline late on when Luis Diaz put Saliba under pressure, and when he hooked the ball back to the penalty spot, Gabriel couldn't get out of the way and deflected it past Raya for 1-1. Martinelli in particular causing Liverpool loads of problems, but I feel like Arsenal needed more than that single goal from all those chances, because they've somehow gone in level. And once Klopp has had his say, Liverpool will be a different animal. Half-time at the Emirates is Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1.
Yes, very much in the balance. Thank you very much, Andrew Bonacore. We'll be across to FJ and the team in just a moment or two. And, let's bring you bang up to date with what has been an exhilarating afternoon so far. Bournemouth down to 10 men. Were ahead. Ended up drawing at home to Nottingham Forest 1-1. Chelsea 2, Wolves 4. If you're a Chelsea fan, what are your thoughts? It's your chance now to call in to Brilla FM, speak to FJ, or get involved on social media. It's going to be a long, hard second half of the season for Chelsea. They are in the Carabao Cup final. They've got an FA Cup replay away at Aston Villa this week. You don't fancy their chances in the form that they're in at the moment. Manchester United, they've hit form suddenly. 4-3 they won against Wolves in midweek, and they've followed it up with an excellent 3-0 victory against West Ham United this afternoon. David Moyes' side just not in it at all as Manchester United pick up a second win in the space of just 4 days. Napoli beating Verona, having been behind in Serie A in Italy by 2-1. Much needed victory for them, who are down in 9th at the moment. Napoli really needing those points. And currently the 3 games going on: Atalanta 1, Lazio 0 in Serie A in Italy. In Germany in the Bundesliga, it's half-time, Leipzig 1, Union Berlin 0. And of course, half-time in the Premier League, it's Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1. It's time now to hand you back to FJ and the team at Brilla FM. Over to you, FJ.
You are listening to Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. Live and exclusive on Breela FM.
Sports Radio 88.9 Breela FM.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Breela FM.
Take Breela anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Breela with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Breela app is available for free download on Google Play. It is also there on the Apple iTunes Store. Yes, on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Look out for the Breela football and microphone logo with the letters BRILA in green colour.
That is our authentic app. It gives you Breela FM, Breela.net, BreelaSports.tv and all the extra betting tips, live score, plus our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus and YouTube posts.
Sports fun. You can post your videos and eyewitness reports.
Breela, BRILA. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Around the grounds, chasing the goals.
A goal that is going to blow open the title race in the Bundesliga.
Well, this wasn't supposed to happen. It's been an unbelievable day here on Football Live.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Breela FM with Football Live.
Sports Radio 88.9 Breela FM.
You are listening to Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. Live and exclusive on Breela FM. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
Yes, welcome back. The second half is underway. Let's get straight across to Andrew Bonacore and see how things have shaped up in the early minute or two at the beginning of the second half at the Emirates.
Well, Liverpool certainly mean business straight out the traps again in the second half as they were in the first half. Luis Diaz this time with a great chance to get a shot away. That was blocked and the ball ran clear. Then Alexis McAllister smashed the ball probably 2 or 3 yards wide. David Raya diving for it, but certainly had it well covered. So yeah, exactly the same in the first half. Liverpool had a great chance in the first minute to take the lead, but it's still Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Still 1-0 in that game, but I can tell you we've got a goal very early on in the second half in our featured game in the German Bundesliga.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And I can tell you that that goal has been scored by Leipzig, who now lead by 2-0 thanks to a 48th minute second goal from Benjamin Sesko to make it 2-0 to Leipzig, putting those 3 straight defeats firmly behind them in that game at the Red Bull Arena. So second goal there for Leipzig really does put them in control of that game. Our featured game here on Football Live this afternoon, exclusive on Brila FM. In the Bundesliga. Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1 is the scoreline in the early stages of the second half. Plenty of drama, I'm sure, to unfold in the coming hour on the show as we keep a very close eye on that. We've got Atalanta 1, Lazio 0. We'll be across to speak to Mark in just a second and hear the latest in that game, which is heading towards half-time. Elsewhere this afternoon, Real Betis have dropped behind early on in the game at home to Getafe. Mason Greenwood scoring from the penalty spot, on loan of course from Manchester United, and scoring today Mason Greenwood to make it Real Betis 0, Getafe 1, and PEC Zwolle have won 2-0 in the Eredivisie in the Netherlands thanks to a victory away at Sparta Rotterdam 2-0. They have won this afternoon. Let's get across to Leipzig, hear all about that early second half goal, and they're right in control now, RB Leipzig, aren't they, Ducker?
Yeah, Leipzig are completely in control now, and I said just before half time as well that Benjamin Sesko missed 2 brilliant opportunities with a header, and this time, third time lucky, he's managed to score with a header. It was Xavi Simons who won the free kick just outside the area, and Raum put the ball into the box, and Sesko was completely unmarked and just guided it past the goalkeeper. It's 2-0 here at the Red Bull Arena. Leipzig fully in control.
Thanks very much, Ducker. From Germany to Italy. Let's get an update on our featured game in Serie A. Atalanta, last time we spoke to Mark Thomas, we're leading by a goal to 0. Half-time is fast approaching, and it's still the case, isn't it, Mark?
Yes, it is, Barry. 5 minutes to go before half-time. It's still 1-0 to Atalanta. Lazio had a nice little patch for about 5 minutes of play there. They had a dangerous free kick. Luis Alberto, their free kick specialist, curled it. Wonderful attempt just over the bar, though. Goalkeeper did have it covered. As I said, they came back into the game. Atlanta, very strong, very firm in defense. They've only conceded 7 goals at home this season. So maybe that's an indication of how tough they are to break down. Catella just put a header over the bar. They've become an aerial threat as well under Gasparini, which is something new. My player of the game so far in the first half is Kolasinac. He's very dangerous in everything he does. But with about 4 minutes to go, it is still Atalanta 1, Lazio 0.
Thank you very much for that latest update there, Mark Thomas. Watching the game between Atalanta and Lazio, which Atalanta are currently leading by a goal to 0. So Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1, RB Leipzig 2, Union Berlin 0, and Atalanta leading by a goal to 0 against Lazio, as we've just heard. Now, on Friday, Ange Postecoglou, the Tottenham Hotspur manager, sent the media into a moment of frenzy when talking about the business that he's done in January, rather jokingly. Have a listen. I quite enjoyed this little clip.
Yeah, getting Rhoda in early was great. Obviously, getting Timo in early was also excellent for us with the kind of injuries we've had at the moment and absences, particularly with Sonny away. And the beauty of getting them in early is they've already made a contribution. If you leave it to the last day, which would have been yesterday, then it still takes guys time to settle. But they've both settled in really well. And probably the only disappointing one was yesterday. I thought there was a really good opportunity for us, and the club just didn't feel, they didn't feel it was the right move for us. So disappointed with that, but we ended up at Ferrari, so we just have to cop it. Oh, look at you all, you were ready to type away. I was going to pause just to let his phone blow up. But it was a good one, mate. It was.
Yes, that was Ange Postecoglou trying to make out the Spurs were trying to sign the Formula One wizard Lewis Hamilton. Well, he does actually hail from not far away from Tottenham, just half an hour up the road, so it makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, isn't it about time we dug out a goal for you?
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And I can tell you it's come in our game in Italy. Atalanta have doubled their advantage right on the stroke of half-time as well. Second goal in that game has hit the back of the net, and it's come from Charles de Ketelaere on 43 minutes. Atalanta 2, Lazio 0. We'll get across to Mark Thomas, shall we? Now's as good an opportunity as ever to go and hear about a second goal for Atalanta at the Gewiss Stadium. Over to you, Mark.
Yes, lovely taken penalty, by the way, from Ketelaere. Stroked it comfortably with his left foot into the bottom corner of the left-hand side of the goal. Came about a penalty claim. Marusic, the ball was crossed in. Marusic, the defender, sort of ricocheted off his arm more than anything. There was no doubt in the referee's mind. He didn't even go to VAR or anything. He just pointed to the spot straight away. And as I said, Ketelaere just put it away. You sense now at halftime they're going to be thinking about changes. Lazio, they've got to come back into this game somehow if they're going to get anything out of it. We've had nearly 44 minutes gone here, Barry. It is now Atalanta 2, Lazio 0.
The latest in-play betting odds from NairaBet.
Let's have a quick look at some of the games that we're featuring on Football Live this afternoon. We've just heard a second goal go in for Atalanta. The draw is down to 12.0 and Atalanta win, not surprisingly, pretty much odds on 1.07. 41.00 for Lazio to score 3 without response and come back and win that game in Serie A. In the Premier League, Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1, 2.62 for the Arsenal win, 2.5 for the draw. Liverpool still the outsiders, 4.0 for them to go and take all 3 points at the Emirates Stadium. Of course, we're also covering Leipzig against Union Berlin. Leipzig in control, 2-0 up in that game, 1.01 for the win for Leipzig. The draw has just dropped down to 26.00, and if you fancy Union Berlin to go off and score 3 goals, highly unlikely, but nothing's impossible in the game of football, that is 101.0 for the Union Berlin victory. So there you have it. That's the latest odds with NairaBet, of course, subject to being subject to change, I should say. Let's head back to Andrew Bonacore, who's at the Emirates. Liverpool have not had a shot on target yet. They lead, so they've managed to find an equaliser. Luis Diaz's attempt was going away from goal, hit the defender on the arm and went in. So Liverpool back to level terms. Andrew, like you say, no shots yet on target, but they're 1-1. How's the second half panning out in the early stages?
Certainly Liverpool have not allowed Arsenal to kind of run away with things as they did early on in the first half, but Gabriel Martinelli, Trent, as I said, likes to bomb forward and really likes to play almost as a midfielder. So there's plenty of space behind him, and the Liverpool central defenders have to come over to cover. But Martinelli is causing all kinds of problems still down the left-hand side. Just a few moments ago, he squared the ball for Martin Odegaard, who just a little shuffle of the shoulders made himself enough space to shoot, but his left-footed shot was saved by Alisson down well to his right. But just a couple of minutes ago, Darwin Nunez looked like he was about to enter the fray. So, yes, things about to get a bit more combative, shall we say. But it's still Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1.
Yes, Andrew Robertson and Darwin Nunez are both coming on for Liverpool. In fact, they're making a triple change, Liverpool, right at this moment in time. Let's get across to Atalanta, who are playing this afternoon at home to Lazio. They might be without their star man, but they are leading by 2-0. We'll go across and hear about another chance in that game in just a minute. But first of all, there's a goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And I can tell you it's come in the Bundesliga. It's another goal for Leipzig. It looks like they've had this one wrapped right up. It's Leipzig 3, Union Berlin 0. It's Benjamin Sesko again scoring to make it 3-0 in that game. And it looks all but over now, doesn't it? Leipzig 3, Union Berlin 0. Let's get across and hear about that third goal for Leipzig. Here's Duka Dubma.
Yeah, this is one of the most extraordinary crosses I think I've ever seen in a game of football. Danny Olmo on the left-hand side. No one around him, just decides, you know what, I'm going to Rabona it into the box. It is sensational. And Benjamin Sesko gets his head on it, puts it past the goalkeeper, and it's 3-0 to Leipzig. And the fact that Leipzig players are showboating like Danny Olmo is right now, it's all far too easy for them. And 57 minutes gone here. It's Red Bull Leipzig 3, Union Berlin 0.
Thank you very much for that, Durka. One of the phrases we've probably not heard of. I say 5 years ago, you go back, never heard of Panenka or anything like that. Rabona. Have you ever seen a Rabona Panenka? Can it happen? A penalty? We'll see. The only problem with that is that goal that Duka has just told us about, it has actually been ruled out for offside, so it is still 2-0 in that game. Let's head back to Duka just quickly. Duka, hopefully we can make contact with you at the Red Bull Arena. That goal has been disallowed, it seems.
Yeah, I believe because of offside. I think Sesko might have just been just a yard or so offside, which is it's slightly annoying because it was an unbelievable goal. But yeah, I believe it was Sesko who was offside in that movement as the cross came in. So that's why it's been disallowed.
Excellent. Thanks, Mark. Let's head straight back to Italy. Half-time whistle has blown. Atalanta in control against Lazio. 2-0 up at half-time. Here's Mark Thomas.
Yes, Atalanta absolutely going for the throat now just before half-time. Anderson got a yellow card for a foul way out there on the left-hand side. Kolasinac got a lovely foot on him. Put a beautiful cross into the box. Emil Holm, the new addition, absolutely open. How he did not score, no one knows. Unbelievable miss from about 5 yards out. It would probably have been curtains for Lazio if that ball would have gone in, and they're probably at halftime thinking they're lucky to be only 2-0 down. Home fans, they're going to be enjoying their halftime paninis here, Barry. It is still 2-0 at halftime to Atalanta.
We've had paninis, panenkas, rabonas. We've got the whole lot, haven't we, here on Football Live. Let's head back to the Emirates. Still in the balance. Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1. We've reached the hour mark. We've just noticed Andrew Bonacore facing the crowd. Olivier Giroud, of course, plays for AC Milan. Scored yesterday in their 3-2 away victory. He's flown over to England and he's in the crowd at the Emirates this afternoon, cheering on his former club as Arsenal have a corner, but nothing comes off it. But certainly good to see him back. But who's on top at the moment?
Yeah, it's even Stevens really in the second half. Possibly Arsenal slightly on top, but the agent of chaos that is Darwin Nunez has come on as you said, part of a triple substitution. Nunez, Robertson, and Elliott have come on. Trent has gone off along with Gakpo and Gravenberch. I think Klopp trying to save some legs with the Champions League campaign starting up again very, very soon. But I'd say in terms of quality going forward, I'd give it just edging it towards Arsenal. But Liverpool are well known for scoring late goals there. I think the highest scorers of goals in the Premier League in injury time, and that's definitely something that Arsenal will have to keep an eye on. They scored, of course, in injury time at the end of the first half. But if Arsenal do get ahead of Liverpool in the second half, they've got to make sure they keep on going right to the very, very end. But I'd say in terms of quality going forward, with everything driven by Odegaard and especially Martinelli down the left, I'd say Arsenal possibly just on top, but it's still 1-1.
Thank you, Andrew. So Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1 earlier on today. Chelsea 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 4. Really bad result for Chelsea in that game, and not a good afternoon for Mauricio Pochettino, the Chelsea manager.
Well, I think it's easy. I think when we score and we didn't start badly the game. I think in the way that we concede the first goal, I think the team suffered the impact, and rather to build the momentum for us and to trust in the way that we start to play. I think it was a big, a difficult moment to manage after that, and I think the energy dropped, and then was really difficult moment to manage. I think that is the important thing. We conceded the second goal. I think 2 own goals on the first half, and then we feel the impact. And then the second half, I think we start and was with the possibility to score the second goal for us. And then when you concede the third goal, you feel, on the touchline that it was really difficult for the player to manage the situation.
So there we are, under pressure maybe, the Chelsea manager Mauricio Pochettino, conceding 4 in midweek at Liverpool. So 4 today against Wolves, that was really not expected. There is a penalty check going on with VAR at the moment. Havertz was brought down inside the penalty area. I don't think anything's coming of it, but let's head back to Andrew Bonacore. Liverpool have just had their first shot on target.
Yes, absolutely, and of course it's Darwin Núñez who loves to shoot from everywhere, so that's something that Arsenal will have to try and cut down, limit him to as few attempts on goal as possible. I thought there may have been something in that challenge on Havertz, but as you say, nothing came of that, but it definitely was a coming together. But I think Alexis McAllister has been injured in that incident, but certainly since Darwin Núñez has come on, Liverpool have gone a bit more direct, and I think, to be fair, for the first time they had a really nice bit of passing play in and around the Arsenal box. Finally managed to find some space, and then the ball found itself to Núñez, whose shot was fairly easily saved. But as I say, Liverpool's first attempt on goal, and with Darwin Núñez on the pitch, I'm sure they'll have first attempt on target at least. Núñez will shoot from absolutely everywhere, so I think David Raya is possibly going to be a little bit busier than he has been so far. But with just about 25 minutes to go at the Emirates Stadium, still Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1.
You are listening to Football Live.
Super Eagles, let's go! NairaBet has a treat for you. Place a bet on any AFCON semi-final and get a 1,000 Naira free bet to use in play on the final. Whether you back Nigeria or any of the remaining teams, even if your bet does not win, you will still be eligible for the free bet. All you need to do is log in to www.nairabet.com, bet on an AFCON semi-final, receive your free bet to use in play at the final on February the 11th. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match markets or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18, minimum odds of 1.5. Must be a real money bet. Cashed out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Football Live. Football's never sounded so good on Brilla FM every Saturday and Sunday.
Football Live will be paying very close attention to the Premier League title race on next Saturday's show. Every point counts as the Premier League title reaches the crucial part of the season. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City are in action. They're at home against Everton at the Etihad. Anfield is usually a fortress for Liverpool, so they will be expected to pick up 3 points. They're at home to struggling Burnley. Tottenham Hotspur have their eyes on the top 4, but will they be able to get the better of Brighton and Hove Albion when the two sides meet in North London? Wolves against Brentford. Bournemouth go to Fulham. It's going to be a busy Saturday afternoon with the AFCON final and the AFC Asian Cup final also on the agenda. It promises to be quite an afternoon of first-class football action next Saturday. And you can follow every kick, every card, every VAR controversy right here on Football Live. Oh, and we promise to throw in a few goals too.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain. The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, when that klaxon sounds, you know the ball is in the back of the net somewhere. Well, the Liverpool game away at Arsenal in the first half, Arsenal gifted Liverpool a goal. Well, they've returned the favour because Arsenal are back in front. And to tell us all about the goal is Andrew Bonacore.
Absolute chaos at the heart of the Liverpool defence, Barry. Another long ball goal. It's a bit like watching football from the 1990s. The ball punted forward over the top and Van Dijk looked like he had it completely under control, but Martinelli wouldn't give him any space to relax, and then Alisson comes. Alisson causing confusion. A little shove from Martinelli on Van Dijk and he was taken out. Alisson ran straight past the ball and all of a sudden Martinelli finds himself with the ball at his feet on the edge of the Liverpool box and absolutely no Liverpool shirt in front of him. And again, just like Saka in the first half, he just calm as you like, rolls it in. Absolute chaos at the back. Van Dijk and Alisson getting in each other's way. A little nudge from Martinelli was enough to get Van Dijk off the ball. And it's 2-1 to the Arsenal.
3 goals in this game, Andrew, and 2 of them have been calamity, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely awful goals for both sides to concede. But as you say, you know, kind of Liverpool to return the favour for Arsenal after they were gifted that fairly undeserved goal at the end of the first half. So really, I think the game has kind of settled into its natural level. Arsenal have been much the better team and really deserve to be ahead. But as I've said several times, they've created many chances, missed many chances. They should be many more goals ahead. But yeah, you've got to expect that something will happen from Klopp's team and they won't just sit back and take this 2-1. As I said, they score goals late on. They're well known for him. Would you believe they've recovered 19 points from losing positions just this season alone in the Premier League? That they are absolutely the masters of turning games around. They've done it once. Can they do it again? Because it's still Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1.
Thank you very much, Andrew. So Arsenal back in front thanks to a goal from Gabriel Martinelli. But what on earth was Alisson doing? Van Dijk didn't cover himself in glory. But if the goalkeeper's going to come charging to the edge of the penalty area, he's got to take his own defender, he's got to take the ball, he's got to take anything that gets in his way. And all he managed to do was miss absolutely everything in his way. And that just paved the way for Martinelli just to roll the ball into the empty net. Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1. We'll be straight back to Andrew Bonacore, I'm sure, very soon. Leipzig 2-0 up against Berlin on our featured game in the Bundesliga. Let's head across to Düker Dubma. This game's been in the bag pretty much for Leipzig. The third goal was disallowed, but they're still in a comfortable position, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, no, this game is far too comfortable for them. Like I said earlier in the game, Union Berlin are chasing shadows. RB Leipzig have full control in this game. Xavi Simons and Dani Olmo just having a field day in this game. You know, just little bits of showboating, clever little passes, just trying to. It's like a friendly match for them almost. It's just far too easy for them. But 70 minutes gone here at the Red Bull Arena. It's RB Leipzig 2, Union Berlin 0.
So looks comfortable for the home side there. The home side's winning in all 3 of our featured games in the Premier League, the Bundesliga and Serie A. It's half-time at the moment. Atalanta 2-0 up on Lazio. Just heard Leipzig still 2-0 up on Berlin. Have third goal ruled out by VAR. Liverpool were back level, but they're now behind again. 3 goals at the Emirates. 2 for Arsenal, 1 for Liverpool. 2 of those goals, 1 for each side. Absolute calamity goals. Not the type of goal that you would be expecting to see in a game of such precision at the top of the Premier League. But that's the way it is at the moment, and we're into the last, 20 minutes or so at the Emirates Stadium. And, at the moment, Arsenal looking good. But let's go back to Andrew Bonacore. A little stat here that you've thrown at me, actually. Arsenal, 3 defenders on yellows. Liverpool have got 2 defenders currently out on the pitch on a yellow card. So both sides, their defences need to tread very carefully.
Yeah, absolutely, especially Arsenal, as you say, with 3 yellows in the heart of their or across their defence. But Liverpool are just unable to really put them under pressure. Arsenal are really playing Liverpool very, very well. Just not giving Liverpool any time on the ball and pressing as soon as Liverpool have the ball as they try to play it across their defence. But then when Liverpool come forward, they're just not finding any space. Arsenal are dropping very deep. They've got Declan Rice and Jorginho in that double defensive pivot in front of the defence, and there's just no space for Liverpool, which is robbing Liverpool of the chance of putting those yellow-carded Arsenal defenders under pressure. So it's going to be a very interesting final 20 minutes of this second half, as you say, Barry. And as we count down towards the end of the game, with 20 minutes to go at the Emirates Stadium, it's Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1.
Yes, into the last half an hour of the show. Mark Thomas is watching our game in Italy. The second half is underway. Lazio 2-0 down away at Atalanta, and they have responded at half-time by making a couple of substitutions, Mark.
Yes, they have. You sense they had to do something to change it up because they weren't going to get anywhere in this game with the way they were playing in the first half. Lazio brought on Nicolas Casale and Luca Pellegrini in place of Gila Fuentes and Maricic in the middle of the park there. So they're looking to change it up. We just kicked off here. Atlanta are attack-minded this first minute or so. You can tell they've got to have some intent because this game is already away from them. And if Atlanta get the third goal, then it really will be all over. We've got 2 minutes played in second half, Barry. Atalanta 2, it's still Lazio 0.
Thank you very much for that. Let's head back to the game in the Bundesliga. Leipzig 2-0 up on Union Berlin, and the afternoon has just got a whole lot worse for Union Berlin, because they have been reduced to 10 men. Duka Dubma.
Yeah, no, it's a horrendous challenge on Raum, who takes the ball past Christopher Trimmel, who makes an awful challenge, studs up into the side of his ankle, and Raum looks like he's in an awful lot of pain. He was rolling around on the floor as soon as that happened, and Trimmel straight away saw the red card. At first instance, I didn't think it was a red card, but looking at the replays now, you can see it's a horrendous challenge, and all the medical staff are on the pitch, and yeah, no, it looks like to be in a serious amount of pain here. But yeah, the afternoon and the season itself has got it's taken a real turn for the worse today for Union Berlin. But still 2-0 to Leipzig here at the Red Bull Arena.
Still Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1, but when it comes to scoring goals between the 76th minute and the 90th minute in the Premier League this season, Liverpool lead the way. They've scored 20 between the 76th and 90th minute in the Premier League. Luton are next best up with 14, then Arsenal with 13 and Wolves with 12. So... well, let's head back to the Emirates, shall we? Andrew Bonacore, the goal scorer of the second goal for Arsenal, Martinelli, has just been substituted. He didn't look too happy, did he?
Absolutely not, and I don't blame him, but I'm really confused by this move from Arteta. He's replaced Martinelli with Trossard, and I was going to say the next time you came to me, Barry, I was just going to say how impressed I've been with Martinelli. He's been the best player on the pitch by a long distance, and he's caused Liverpool problems from minute one. I'm absolutely shocked that he's been substituted, but well, you saw his face. He's really disappointed. You might say quite angry, but yeah, you can only expect that maybe Arteta's looking for some freshness up front. But I just wonder whether maybe switching Martinelli into the centre and replacing Havertz, bringing Trossard onto the Arsenal left would have been a smarter move. But you know, as they say, in Arteta we trust, so we have to trust his judgment. But he's certainly making changes to try and preserve this lead and maybe even build on it, because it's still Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andrew. Just seeing a shot coming in from McAllister, a grass cutter through the crowd and inches wide, nearly an equaliser there for Liverpool. Penalty in the game between Real Betis and Getafe. We heard that Mason Greenwood had scored from the penalty spot early on to give Getafe the lead. Well, Real Betis are back level thanks to a penalty of their own from Isco. And Union Berlin, as we just heard, down to 10 men. Christopher Trimmel shown a straight red, 17 minutes from time. His side, a man down, 2 goals down. Let's go to the Atalanta game against Lazio. Atalanta looking for a third goal. Big chance for Palicic. Mark Thomas.
Yes, indeed, Barry Palicic. Barry Palicic has gone. He's gone into the box, come through on the right-hand side of the goal. Lovely sequence of passes between players all across the field. Absolutely foxed the Lazio defence, and he came in and he had a great shot, which was saved in goal by Pravadel. They're looking very dangerous now, Atalanta, and you just sense that third killer goal is on the way. 50 minutes gone here exactly. It's still Atalanta 2, Lazio 0.
Arsenal fans making loads of noise at the Emirates Stadium. They'll be a bit concerned at the moment because the scorer of their first goal, Bukayo Saka, is limping off with the physio next to him. He's holding his thigh. I'm hoping it's more of a bruise or a knock and not a muscular injury. But Bukayo Saka is applauding the Arsenal fans as he limps to the near side, and he is going to be replaced. I think Nketiah is going to come on for him. There's a couple of changes in the game in the Bundesliga. Let's go there, shall we? Dukadugba, a couple of changes for Leipzig.
Yeah, a couple of big changes. Openda coming off after his brilliant contribution with the first goal, and Danny Olmo, who's been instrumental today in everything that RB Leipzig have done right. And on comes Yusuf Poulsen, the big striker, and new signing Elmas, who they brought in for Napoli for 24 million euros in January. Let's see what he can do in the final closing stage of the game. But still 2-0 to Leipzig, 77 minutes played.
Thank you very much for that, Durka. So it looks like Leipzig are going to wrap up all 3 points. Atalanta are well on the way early in the second half, leading by 2-0 as well. Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1 is still a little bit more in the pipeline. It's getting a little bit niggly there. Liverpool came close to an equaliser. I told you about it a couple of minutes ago. Andrew, it was a shot from distance from McAllister, edge of the box, through a crowd. It was one of those grass cutters off of his toe, and it poked just wide. Big chance, but didn't go in, did it?
Yeah, it was a good technique from the Argentinian, but basically, Barry, that's what Liverpool are reduced to. They're not creating chances as such. That was a volley from McAllister from a corner that was headed clear. So they're not attacking with the same kind of quality as Arsenal are, because Arsenal are finding space and playing neat little passes around the box and giving shooting opportunities to the likes of Odegaard and Martinelli and also Havertz. But Liverpool are really struggling to get the ball forward. But Darwin Núñez is certainly causing some concern at the back for Arsenal. So with him there, he doesn't have to do a great deal. He just has to cause a little bit of confusion, maybe take a few Arsenal defenders off the ball, and you never know. As we said, with 3 of them on yellow cards, maybe draw 1 or 2 of them into some fouls and maybe influence the game that way. But you'd expect with about 15 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go. Goodness me, this is really passing me by. With 10 minutes to go, you'd expect that Liverpool will just keep turning the screw and pile on that pressure, and Arsenal have to be ready for that. And if Arteta wants to make another change, you'd have to expect that that's maybe going to be at the back. But still down to him. We'll see how the final 10 minutes pans out, because Arsenal trying to hold on to this lead, because it's Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Yesterday in the Premier League, in the late kick-off, which was after Football Live had ended, it was a one-sided affair. Aston Villa, who lost at home to Newcastle, their first home defeat in a year. They bounced back yesterday with a 5-0 away victory at Sheffield United. And, 5 different goal scorers. And the Sheffield United manager, Chris Wilder, he wasn't pulling the punches. He knew exactly how bad his team were.
Yeah, incredibly bad day. Myself and the players have let the supporters down. Big time. It's a really poor first half an hour, and I think, you know, in terms of the goals, and I think you realise what the Premier League's about when you know they find their finishes, but really the lead up to the goals are really poor goals, and you give anybody an helping hand at any level, you know, the majority of the time they'll take it. They definitely take it in the Premier League.
Well, it does look like Sheffield United are going to be playing their football in the Championship again next season. They have had moments in the Premier League this season, but yesterday was another one of those. They lost 8-0 at home to Newcastle, 5-0 at home to Villa. They're really the only two games in which they've been given a real thrashing. They've been in most games this season, but there's just been that lack of quality. They decided not to spend anything in the summer and rely largely on the squad that took them up, and their top scorer last season in the Championship was allowed to be sold as well. They have always been favourites to go down, and it looks like they will be going down this season. Villa, on the other hand, into the top four. Right, let's get round the ground, shall we? Let's start in the Italian Serie A. Mark Thomas is watching. Lazio need something from somewhere. They've only scored 10 goals away from home all season. They've had a couple of chances, but they just can't finish at the moment, can they, Mark?
Yeah, they're not able to put that ball in the net at all. They had a couple of really good chances. Felipe Anderson, his shot bounced up one of the defenders, then Isaacson blasted the rebound with nobody around him, about 2 yards wide. You get the sense that that's why they're not doing better than they can. They're getting the half chances, but in this level of football, you've got to put those half chances away, and that's what's keeping them back right now. Atlanta defense are still holding out very, very positively, and they did have a half chance from Ruggeri, who just put the wall wide. 55 gone, Atalanta 2, Lazio 0.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. Let's head to the Bundesliga. Leipzig against Union Berlin. Less than 10 minutes to go in this. 2-goal and 1-man advantage for Leipzig. I think it's a formality, the 3 points for the home side, isn't it, Ducker?
Yeah, it's going to be a formality at this point. Again, it's just very, very comfortable, and I really do worry for Union Berlin this season. You know, they had 2 excellent seasons. It just seems sort of that honeymoon period is now over for them, and they're going to be battling for survival this season, which is a real shame because they looked the top side last season and right at the start of this season. But at the minute, it's looking very, very bleak for them. But all credit to Leipzig today. I think they've been fantastic and fully deserved the 3 points that will definitely be coming their way. 83 minutes played here at Red Bull Arena, 2-0 to Leipzig.
And back to the Emirates of Andrew Bonacore into the last, 6 minutes now. Looks like Arsenal are managing the game very well.
Yeah, they are. They're defending solidly, and as I said a couple of minutes ago, Liverpool are really not creating any chances. They're trying to swing the ball in from wide. They're getting corners, and actually Arsenal with a great chance for Kivior. But Liverpool are really struggling to impose themselves on Arsenal, and Arsenal, I have to say, are defending quite comfortably, but yeah, you just never know. Thiago Alcantara is coming on to see if he can contribute to the game, but you know, with just 5 or so minutes to go, he hasn't played any football at all for months and months, and is he really going to make a difference? I think all of Liverpool's hopes, really, I feel, are on the shoulders of Darwin Núñez. So maybe if Thiago can get the ball to him, you never know. But I think Arsenal they look like they may even see this game out, and they're managing the final minutes of the game very well. With 5 minutes to go, it's Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1.
You are listening to Football Live.
Super Eagles, let's go! NairaBet has a treat for you. Place a bet on any AFCON semi-final and get a 1,000 Naira free bet to use in play on the final. Whether you back Nigeria or any of the remaining teams, even if your bet does not win, you will still be eligible for the free bet. All you need to do is log in to www.nairabet.com, bet on an AFCON semi-final, receive your free bet to use in play at the final on February the 11th. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match markets or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18, minimum odds of 1.5. Must be a real money bet. Cashed out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Football Live. Football's never sounded so good on Brilla FM every Saturday and Sunday.
Football Live will be paying very close attention to the Premier League title race on next Saturday's show. Every point counts as the Premier League title reaches the crucial part of the season. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City are in action. They're at home against Everton at the Etihad. Anfield is usually a fortress for Liverpool, so they will be expected to pick up 3 points. They're at home to struggling Burnley. Tottenham Hotspur have their eyes on the top 4, but will they be able to get the better of Brighton and Hove Albion when the two sides meet in North London? Wolves against Brentford, Bournemouth go to Fulham. It's going to be a busy Saturday afternoon with the AFCON final and the AFC Asian Cup final also on the agenda. It promises to be quite an afternoon of first-class football action next Saturday. And you can follow every kick, every card, every VAR controversy right here on Football Live. Oh, and we promise to throw in a few goals too.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Barry Swain.
And I can tell you there has been a red card in the game between Arsenal and Liverpool. And it's Ibrahima Konate who has gone and blocked the run from Havertz, and that's introduced a second yellow card. The referee, Anthony Taylor, had no option. He had to give a second yellow, and he is off. We'll hear about that red card from Andrew Bonacore in just a few moments' time. First of all, let's head into the Bundesliga. Leipzig against Berlin. Still 2-0, Ducker?
Yeah, still 2-0, still far too comfortable for Leipzig. A very, very professional performance from them so far. I can't really put a foot wrong with their performance. But again, Union Berlin just can't get out of their own half. All the possession that Union Berlin can get is in their own half. As soon as they get into that Leipzig half, the press comes in from the two centre halves and the midfielders, and they just can't keep hold of the ball in there. And it's just far too easy for Leipzig here at the Red Bull Arena. 87 minutes played, still 2-0.
Yeah, a couple of minutes to go in that one. Looks like RB Leipzig are back to winning ways. A much needed 3 points. Told you about that second yellow card for Ibrahima Konate. Let's head across to Andrew Bonacore at the Emirates, and he can tell us all about how Liverpool have been reduced to 10 men.
Yeah, no arguments really. I'd suggest for Konate. It was Kai Havertz who was played down the Arsenal left. He looked as if he was going to go outside of Konate, then just with his left foot chopped the ball inside. Konate not following the ball, following the man instead, and just body checked him. Havertz went down a little bit theatrically, and but the referee really didn't have much of a decision to make. Jurgen Klopp was sarcastically giving the referee the thumbs up, but it definitely was another yellow card, and in fact Havertz is down again after a challenge with Van Dijk. But this game, Barry, is being played at Arsenal's pace. Bearing in mind that Liverpool are 2-1 down, they're just not having any influence on the game. They're not impacting Arsenal as they would like to. It's been extremely disappointing from Liverpool. And if Arsenal can see out this final few minutes plus injury time, it would be an absolutely magnificent performance and a magnificent result for the Gunners. A few minutes to go until we find out how much injury time to be played. And it's Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1.
Well, the magic number, Andrew, is 7. That's how many minutes added time there will be at the Emirates Stadium, which tucks in nicely with the last 10 minutes that we've got here on Football Live this afternoon. So Arsenal against Liverpool into 7 minutes of stoppage time. By the way, talking to the number 7, we've just seen Darwin Núñez win a free kick. He's got up and he's thrown a tantrum at the referee because he wants more than just a free kick, and he's ended up getting his 7th yellow card of the season. So Darwin Núñez, out of frustration, is booked for Liverpool to add to that second yellow for Ibrahima Konate, who has been sent off. Liverpool a goal down, a man down. The most goals scored in the Premier League beyond the 90th minute this season. Arsenal and Liverpool top that table with 7. Wolves are next up with 5. So both these sides know all about scoring late goals. I wonder if there might be one here. Arsenal on the attack at the moment. They're down to 10 men, Liverpool, and there might be more to come. And indeed, I will tell you, there is more to come. Another goal at the Emirates.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, we've seen two calamitous goals, and I can tell you Arsenal have just gone 3-1 up, and it's a goal for Trossard, and he's put it through the legs of Alisson, who's had a shocker this afternoon. And the manager, Mikel Arteta, has gone running down the touchline, Jose Mourinho style. Arsenal have turned on the style this afternoon. They're closing the gap on the leaders, Liverpool. They're blowing the title race wide open. It's 3-1 to Arsenal this afternoon, and Trossard takes the applause from the crowd. The Arsenal fans are going wild because they are 3-1 up into stoppage time at the Emirates Stadium. It's Arsenal 3, Liverpool 1. Telling us about that third goal, here he is at the Emirates. It's Andrew Bonacore.
Wonderful goal from Leandro Trossard. He did absolutely everything himself. He got the ball almost on the halfway line by the touchline, and nutmegged, I think it may have been Harvey Elliott who just with a lovely flick of the left foot nutmegged Harvey Elliott, and was not quite clean through on goal, but you would have thought from his position on the field that he'd be getting the ball down to the byline and trying to cross the ball in, but instead he cut inside, hammered the ball low and hard, and as you said, Barry, right between the legs of Alisson Becker, who wasn't beaten at his near post but beaten between the legs. Jurgen Klopp having a chuckle, Arteta sprinting down to the corner flag to celebrate with his players, and really that is the cherry on the icing on top of the cake for Arsenal. They've been dominant in the second half, haven't allowed Liverpool a sniff, and it looks like they put this one to bed. It's now Arsenal 3, Liverpool 1.
Yeah, great result that will be for Arsenal, and as I just said, it's going to blow the title race wide open. We're into stoppage time in the Bundesliga as well. Leipzig have got this one wrapped up, and Doka Dubma, it very nearly become 3-0, didn't it?
Yeah, very, very close. Xavi Simons, the man who's been making everything tick so far in this game, just the amount of step overs he'd done and then just cutting on the defender, just inside the area, and then sends a curling effort towards the top corner, and Swallow reaches out a hand and manages just to get a fingertip on it, just to tip it onto the bar, and it crashes off the bar and goes out. But a really, really good chance for Leipzig to make it 3. But with just moments remaining in this game, it is Leipzig 2, Union Berlin 0.
Yeah, there was a slight deflection on the goal at the Emirates. It came off of Van Dijk, but it will be a goal for Trossard. Just had a close-up on the TV pictures we've got here of the Arsenal game against Liverpool. They're winning 3-1. The Arsenal fans are celebrating. As a close-up on one fan, he beats the badge on his shirt. But it's not an Arsenal shirt. You're not going to believe this. It's a Super Eagles shirt in the crowd. That's right, he's got the Nigerian green shirt on. He's tapping the Nigerian badge. He's had a great weekend, hasn't he? Nigeria through to the AFCON semi-finals, as well as Arsenal closing the gap on Liverpool at the top of the Premier League. Hey, why don't we hear from Jose Peseiro, the Nigerian coach, happy with the Angola win back on Friday night.
First, was the team create more chance against us until now? At least two, I think, in the first corner. After that ball was touching the post. This represented the quality of this team. Angola didn't reach the quarters final por milagre, or something, or lucky, but because it's a good team. One time more, our team didn't concede goal. One time more, score one. I would like to score more. I think you create more chances. In the first half, we dominate and control the opponent. In the second half, you could create more in counter-attack, because Angola try to put more people more players in the front, more players, more attackers. But in the final, congratulations for my players. I'm happy. My players deserve. And congratulations for the Angola. They did a fantastic tournament.
Yes, and switching our attentions back to the Premier League. Earlier on, Manchester United 3, West Ham United 0. The blip on the horizon, Alejandro Martinez's injury for Manchester United. Martinez limping off. Here's Erik ten Hag.
Oh, I can't say. And it doesn't look good. So there's a big concern, but we have to wait coming days. What is the diagnosis, and then we can tell you more. Yeah, of course, we do everything to get the right diagnosis and see what is the damage. He's very sad, very disappointing. We are all, and we feel really with him. It's first of all, it's a personal disaster when it's really bad. But let's wait what it is. But also for the team, it's really bad because he definitely brings us a lot.
So there you go. Big blow for Manchester United after that 3-0 win. Lisandro Martinez, not Alejandro Martinez, injured, and he could well be out for the rest of the season. We will wait and see. Duka Dubma is our man in the Bundesliga this afternoon, and he's watched a comfortable home win for Leipzig against Union Berlin. Full-time whistle has blown, Duka.
Yeah, comfortable win for RB Leipzig, who got the game flying off of an early goal from Louis Openda, getting his 14th of the season, and it was all straightforward from then into the first half. A few chances here and there, but nothing to scream home about. And then start of the second half, Benjamin Sesko pops up with a header to make it 2-0 to RB Leipzig. And if Union Berlin's afternoon couldn't get any worse, Christopher Trimmel with a horrendous challenge, and the skipper gets himself sent off just to make the afternoon even worse for Union Berlin. And it finished here at the Red Bull Arena, 2-0 to RB Leipzig.
Thank you very much for that update. Thank you for your updates this afternoon in the Bundesliga. Great work from Duka Dubma. Let's quickly go to Italy. Atalanta 2, Lazio 0. It's about 20 minutes to go. It's looking comfortable for Atalanta, isn't it, Mark Thomas?
Very comfortable indeed. They've had a couple of chances. Free kick a few seconds ago just went wide off the training ground. They're very much in control. Can't see them losing this game. Lazio are huffing and puffing, but no penetration going forward. Looks like a comfortable win for Atalanta this afternoon. 20 minutes gone. It's Atalanta 2, Lazio 0.
Thank you very much. That's probably the last we'll hear of Mark, unfortunately, this afternoon, because the show is going to be ending in a couple of minutes' time. Let's get straight across to the Emirates. A full-time report from Andrew Bomacore. 3 points to the Arsenal.
It's all over here, and the Gunners have beaten Liverpool 3-1. Saka on 14, Martinelli on 67, and Trossard on 92 give Arsenal a very useful 3 points and left Liverpool on their backside after dominating them, with the only wrinkle of the game being a Gabriel own goal in first half stoppage time. It's not just the result that send a message, but the performance as well. Arsenal are back. It finished Arsenal 3, Liverpool 1.
Andrew, as always, thank you very much. Great reporting this afternoon from all of our reporters. Great news for Arsenal. It's not been a very good afternoon if you're a Chelsea supporter or a Liverpool supporter. Liverpool down to 10 men, losing 3-1 at Arsenal. Chelsea 4-2, they lost at home against Wolves this afternoon. More pressure on Mauricio Pochettino. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Manchester United 3-0 winners against West Ham United. Our other featured games, Napoli 2, Verona 1. It's still Atalanta 2, Lazio 0 into the last 20 minutes of that game in Serie A, and a comfortable win for Leipzig, back to winning ways against 10-man Union Berlin, as we just heard in the Bundesliga. 2-0 winners at the Red Bull Arena. It's been a fantastic, epic afternoon and indeed weekend right here on Football Live. 5 Premier League games yesterday, and every single one of them produced at least 4 goals. We couldn't quite live up to that today, but we did have a goal in each game that we covered this afternoon. In fact, every game gave us at least 2 goals. There'll be more of the same next week on Football Live. We do hope you can join us then. We'll see you again next weekend. You've been listening to Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM. You have been listening to Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM, sponsored by NairaBet.